Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Good evening. Welcome back to Black. Yeah, it's a little dark. Try to see what's the best lighting I could get. Maybe if I face. I don't like that thing right there. Oop, is that blinding? I'm gonna put this down as much as possible. What up? Good evening, my fellow Americans, my fellow patriots. It's September 12th, 2025. Right now it's 11:32 p.m. And I got nothing to do but talk to you. Let's have a conversation. Maybe if we get up here. Right? Yeah, that's how you do it. But yeah, man, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to San Miguel TV. We out here live. I hope y'all can hear me good. Maybe if I come a little closer, y'all can hear me better. But we gonna talk tonight, man, and we might as well. You know, there's a lot of things to talk about tonight. I think one of the main things I want to talk about tonight is the hypocrisy of people, the biases, the racial biases, the cognitive dissonance, and the cognitive biases. It's just an easy comparison. It's so easy to see how hypocritical people are by looking at the things that they do and the things that they don't do. If you remember back in May 25th, on May 25th of 2020, it was Memorial Day after the pandemic, the lockdown, the curfew, all of that stuff. We was finally free from being under scrutiny and just constant fear of the boogeyman. Pretty much for months they shut down the country, toppled our economy for we're still feeling it till this day. It caused the crime rate to skyrocket. The stock market plummeted. And come Memorial Day of 2020, the pandemic and the lockdown is over pretty much. We were released into the streets like rabid dogs. And George Floyd in Minneapolis was trying to purchase some cigarettes with counterfeit money. He was hanging out with his drug dealer and a lady friend. If you recall, the drug dealer was a guy wearing all red that refused to testify during George Floyd's, Derek Chauvin's trial against the murder of George Floyd because of fear of incriminating himself. What you can see happens when George Floyd gets the cops called on him, what you see happen is pretty much him get very nervous. He was stuttering. He knew he was in trouble, and George Floyd was trying to comply, but he kept just talking, just trying to debate with the officer that he's not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. He's not that type of guy, he kept saying. George Floyd gets, they try to put him in the police SUV. I mean, it was a pretty big truck, but George Floyd was like 6'7", 6'8", 260 pounds, something like that, 250 pounds. And, but he was also saying that he can't breathe in the back of the truck for whatever reason. He couldn't breathe. I think what happened was that while they detained him, you could see him get put up against the wall, and he drops a little white baggie, and then it disappears from the ground. You could see it, like, just, he drops it out of nowhere. There's a baggie on the ground all of a sudden, and then I guess he grabbed it again. I don't know. He ended up swallowing it or something, and that he consumed a lot of fentanyl that day. So he started acting erratic once they tried to put him in the back of the police vehicle. And he said, George Floyd, and I quote, George Floyd said, "Put me on the ground." Go back and listen to the body cam. Get the raw body cam, man, where they even show you footage from the store. I forget the name of the store. They ended up burning that store down. That store till this day, it's just vacant. It's just a vacant building. It was destroyed. People treated this man, George Floyd, as if he was some type of saint while he lived. Just because you died, it doesn't absolve all the evil that you've done throughout your life. So you leave a legacy behind, a legacy of committing crimes, running up, doing home invasions, which is what George Floyd did, doing home invasions in Houston, and which is where he was from, and robbing people, black women, at gunpoint. I mean, you got black women that are saying that, F Charlie Kirk. You got fat black women out here that are saying F Charlie Kirk, he was a hypocrite and a bigot. I'm talking about duplex size overweight women, black women that say that they care about black women, but never said a peep about George Floyd. Now, he was a saint. George Floyd was a saint. Can't say nothing about George Floyd. As soon as he died, he turned into Jesus Christ. You didn't know that? That was when he repented and he turned into Jesus Christ. I want you to know that. Yeah, I'm talking about a specific person. Actually, so I'm not just generalizing, but is an obese, and then people are sharing this shit. It's hilarious. Like, they're posting videos where they claim that Charlie Kirk was calling somebody a Asian slur, a racial Asian a slur that they, but he was actually calling out one of his political opponents named Cenk Uygur or Shank Uygur. He's a Turkish, big brown buffalo, sweaty, just a former Muslim turned atheist and progressive Democrat. And he's the host of the Young Turks with Anna Kasparian, who's an Armenian. And for a long time, Cenk Uygur has denied the Armenian Holocaust that the Turkish had done against the Armenians back in, I can't even tell you the year. The Ottoman Turks. Just some little history there. Then if you've seen Piers Morgan live, you had one of Charlie Kirk's best friends, who's actually a gay person. His name is Rick Rubin, and he runs something called the Rubin Report, and I believe he's a libertarian. Rick Rubin is also a homosexual, and he was talking about how him and Charlie Kirk were having dinner with him and his wife and Rick Rubin's husband of over 10 years. They would all have dinners, and he didn't get into too much detail, but they would talk about marriages and everything, and they were best friends. They call him a bigot, they call him homophobic, they call him all those things because he's a Christian conservative, white male. Those are like the #1 targets right now in the media. That's why you see CNN said that the white male is the most scariest thing in this country. They put it on the front page of their newspaper. They're not even demonizing black people. CNN is demonizing white men, especially after January 6th. What did they have before January 6th? Slavery, of course, Jim Crow. But that day lives in infamy, even though in, I believe, 1948, there were Puerto Rican nationals that ran up in the Capitol in D.C. I'm talking about the state capitol in D.C., ran up in there and shot and killed people. I forget their names, but I think there were two brothers and a sister. I think there were a brother and a sister pair with the last name LeBron. That's a very popular name in Puerto Rico, LeBron, popular last name. And they shot up people, and it was a terroristic act in the Capitol. Nobody talks about that, though. But January 6th will live in infamy, even though like 2 people died, and one of those people was a conservative woman named Erica Babbitt, I think. I forgot. Or Bobbitt. I forget her name. They were wilding out. I don't know what they were thinking. They believe that the election was stolen, and I don't think that's such an evil thing. I can understand why they think that. Because of the popular vote that Joe Biden got, it just seemed unbelievable. But it's not so unbelievable. Hey man, don't talk about the Mets right now, please. I don't want to talk about this shit right now. All right, let's keep talking about Charlie Kirk and goddamn the Saint George Floyd. But yeah, man, this is just pure hypocrisy. In 2020, Juan Soto's a man. He's the only one doing something right now. But yeah, I love Juan Soto. I'm Dominican, man. I'm Dominican. I'm a baseball fanatic. But when it comes to like political stuff, that's the only thing I'm into, is watching baseball and politics. So when George Floyd, was crucified for our sins, there weren't people, well, there were people, on social media that were saying, hey, this guy was an evil guy. Why do we care about him? But yeah, I believe you, Samson. I agree with you. Election cannot be stolen. The votes of the people do not choose a president. The Electoral College chose the president. I hear you. I don't agree with you, but I hear you. But the Phillies are unstoppable, man. You can't help but admire them. Because I love Bader. I don't know why we didn't re-sign Harrison Bader. He's been killing us. Jesus Christ, he's been destroying us. But Schwarber is just unstoppable. Harper hasn't really been Harper this year, but he was injured for a little while. He's pretty good. Stott is amazing. Luzardo is great. Sanchez is off the hook. Y'all are killing it, man. I ain't even mad. You gotta give credit where credit is due, and the Mets just are not producing. But stop. Let's stop talking about the Mets. We keep talking about the Mets. I like Trey Turner on the Phillies. Trey Turner's great, man. They got such a great team, man. What's the dude? that was killing us out of nowhere. Was it Kemp? Otto Kemp? Damn it, man. Otto Kemp was killing us. What the hell's going on? Jesus Christ, he was knocking home runs, but nah. It was just a disaster, man. It was just a straight collapse of pitching, and yeah, we can't hold on to the lead. We don't know how to score runs. We just hit straight donuts sometimes. I don't understand what's going on. We're up and down. There's no sync. There's no like synchronization. There's no gelling. It seems like people are just not stepping up. And then baseball is weird like that. When one person, you know, when a few people start playing bad, it's like the whole team kind of just gets into this runt. And then when one player starts playing good, other people might rally behind them, and then they turn things around. So, you know. But yeah, give this video some likes, man. So we could just keep this thing going, maybe until 1 a.m. Maybe till 12:30. You know, about another hour, I'm gonna say. You know, more or less. So yeah, I mean, I think that is a clear hypocrisy in the world, where you have people from all races, all ethnicities that are just all backwards as fuck. But it's this victimhood and this lowering of expectations that's happening to the black community. And I want to call it out because it's been too long that we've been making excuses for why things are the way they are. And I think that that's even more racist than you saying that, oh, I'm against DEI because I want people to have equal opportunity, not equal outcome. See, people don't actually research the things that they even believe in. They'll be against the nepotism. They'll be against, oh, well, why did Donald Trump hire his whole family? Why did he put his whole family in the cabinet? And he gave his son-in-law this position, and he didn't have any experience. And yeah, you can criticize anybody, man. Everybody's open to criticism, even the president of the United States. Yes. Yeah, I don't agree with everything everybody says. So when you throw out random points, when I'm trying to make a point about DEI, if you're so against nepotism, DEI is even worse, because it's not like, oh, I know this person, this is my son, this is my brother, this is my son-in-law. It's just like, oh, I don't know this person, he's just black like me. DEI is worse than nepotism. DEI is worse than nepotism. You can have a resume, you know. What if you don't do proper references and proper background checks, and you just want to get a black person because you need to meet a quota that DEI initiatives have laid down? Pretty much, you need to, or else you're going to be looked at as, oh, you might be racist because how come you guys ain't hiring black pilots? That's because black people largely don't want to be pilots. That's why, man. It's the same reason why you have more women as nurses, because men don't really want to be nurses. It's the same reason why you have more men that are engineers, because women don't really want to be engineers. That's why you have more women in the fashion industry, because men don't really give a fuck about the fashion industry like that, unless they're, you know, a little, then it's a different story. There are natural divisions. There are natural, if you leave people to their own devices, people are going to do whatever the fuck they want. And you're going to see, just like you see in the NBA, who are the most, the majority of people that you see in the NBA is black people. Why is that? Because they're better at the game. They run faster, they jump higher, for the most part, right? Generally, I'm just making generalizations, right? It's not true for all. I shouldn't even have to say not all. I'm speaking in generalities, all right? So that's why you see that. And owners are not going to be like, oh, well, I'm racist, so I don't want to hire a black person. They know that when you need to get the job done, you're gonna hire the best person for the job. That's how it works. If you want a DEI in the NBA, you would have to hire some scrub ass white people that are not gonna play as good. That's just the reality of it. It's the same situation. So if you make DEI where, oh, well, we have to elect a certain amount of black pilots. What if somebody writes up a fake, fraudulent resume and they don't really do the background check and the proper research into the person just to get a black pilot, you know? And now this leads to disaster. And that's the problem also, because there's people that are going to be more qualified of any race that should be better off for that job, instead of you just doing it just for the sake of appeasing an identity politics initiative like DEI. I don't want to give people special privileges because of their race, whether they're white, black, Hispanic, Indian. I don't give a fuck. Asian, which is Indian, which Indians are Asian, I mean. Well, I don't care. Like, it's not about that. You're making it about that. Like, the people that are making it about DEI, I mean, it's already a thing. They're forcing us to now respond to it and talk about it. And then when you don't agree with it, their first reaction is, oh, well, you must be racist. Like, come on, man. That is a straw man. That's a way for you to just dominate the conversation by not having a debate. And you just label somebody as something negative, and now you don't have to debate anything. Like, come on, man. We see you. I see you. It starts in schools. It starts in home. OJ the Great, or I don't know what I'm reading there. Oh, AJ the Great, I guess. It starts at home, and then, you know, the schools can you know, the schools are not supposed to be raising our children. We're supposed to be responsible for our children. There's a lot of parents out here that are lazy and they do the bare minimum, and they don't even check homework or nothing. They leave it up to the school system to, you know, do whatever they do, and they fall back. You have to stay on top of your children. You know that when they get home, you need to spend time on them, you know, after school. It's actually been proven that children who study and spend time going over what they went over in class, you know, early in the day, retain the information better when they go home and they study for at least 1 hour. This says at least 1 hour. They say that Asian people, that people in well, China, to be specific, Chinese people, Chinese children study on an average of 3 to 4 hours after school. I'm talking about at home a day. And compared to blacks and Hispanics, we're at an hour or less. An hour or less. Sometimes it's 0. And then it shows in academia. It shows in who's doing the best right now in a lot of, you know, different categories. When you look at home ownership, when you look at credit score, when you look at less crime-ridden communities, the Asian community is the prime example right now. So how does that fall under white supremacy? These people are not making any sense, and they try to say, well, it's because Asians, they appease the white man, and then the white man allows them to be a part of the system. This shit is a fairy tale. These are people that are learning from Marxists, man. This Marxist socialist agenda is creeping into our education system. It's definitely in our universities. You see it. The BLM founders are self-proclaimed Marxists that want to destroy the nuclear family. I mean, they're reading right. They're taking the playbook right from the Communist Manifesto written by Karl Marx, and I forget who co-wrote it. But you know, a lot of these ideologies come from Trotsky, you know, and they want to take away private ownership because to them capitalism is evil. Oh, here come these sprinklers. I think I'll be good right here. But you know, private ownership is actually the best market to have. A capitalistic market is the market that works. There are social programs you can create to balance certain things out, because what's going to happen eventually, naturally, is that the people that have the most money are just going to continue getting more money. And there is a lopsided, disproportionate wealth distribution in this country, if y'all know what I'm talking about. I hope y'all following. I try to keep myself informed with a lot of these topics so I can talk about it intelligently. My main thing right now is to expose what common is to expose the lies that are out there that people just commonly think it's the truth. I saw a lot of misinformation, for example, during some of these school shootings, not school shootings, police shootings of unarmed black men and women, mostly men, in this country, when it became a phenomenon in, it became a big thing that people kept following. Every little black person that got shot became a big story that the news media was pushing. And then you have people like the Young Turks. These are left-wing political pundits, pretty much, that have a news media. You can find a whole network that the Young Turks run. It's called TYT Sports. It's like TMZ. TMZ has the same type of shit. They do media coverage, they do sports coverage, they'll do just any type of entertainment news. And the Young Turks were always politically opposed to Charlie Kirk. They were both young social media, platforms, pretty much, and social media faces. Cenk Uygur is not as well known. Well, you could argue that Cenk Uygur is well known as Charlie Kirk. I think Charlie Kirk right now is, his name is gonna forget it. That you're gonna keep hearing that name, and I'm gonna keep playing that name out until y'all get mad at me, and I'm gonna keep doing it even when you are mad at me, because there's just so much content, so much good stuff. And y'all know I'm not a Christian, but I wish I was a Christian. Damn, I wish I could be one. I don't have that type of faith. I don't know. But I love my Christian supporters and viewers, and sometimes we align when we go against the Black Hebrew Israelites, because that's a common thing that people know me for doing. Because there's a lot of negative shit that's being pushed out there against white people, and I saw it firsthand when I was in the Black Hebrew Israelite, Black nationalist cult, anti-white. Black Hebrew Israelite. Jesus Christ was black, yo. He had hair like wool. Jesus Christ was a black man. He had an afro with an afro pick in it. All right, the job market, very thin, picking already to add diversity quota is debilitating. A lot of dudes I see that are nurses are feminine. I got a GED because school was infested with teachers that were just collecting their checks. That's good, yeah, man. I didn't think about that. That's what my brother did, man, and my brother wasn't stupid. He just got distracted. I got distracted too. I almost got my GED. Shame in getting your GED, because the school system is a joke. The public school system is a joke in this country. The universities is a scam, man, for the most part in this country. Especially when you talk about some of these programs that people go to, these classes that people take. I'm trying to think of these funny ass names for these classes, man. They making up some crazy shit now. I'm a diversity specialist. I'm a DEI, expert. I'm an expert on diversity. And yeah, but you're gonna be left paying. You're gonna be left in debt for like 10 years, paying $1,000 a year in school loans or more. You know, you go to school to be a doctor, you're gonna owe over $100,000. You go to school to be a nurse, you're gonna owe $40,000. You go to school to be a medical billing encoder, you're gonna owe $10,000. If you know, well, not if you do it the right way, because there's a lot of universities, there's a lot of technical colleges and technical schools that will give you a certificate of completion, but it's not accredited, and people get got all the time, man. There's so many scams in this country. Um, you know, it's just, I mean, we don't need it in our school systems. It's the last place that we need these damn money hungry, you know, money hungry hippos. Was top 10 in my class and left to get out of the environment where kids were allowed to just hang out in school, no learning. The screenshot of this stream is brilliant. Yeah, I created that thumbnail um because I knew it would get people's attention, you know. They got IKEA furniture assembly specialists. Bro, that should be my job. I'm constantly doing this shit. My wife just be ordering fucking furniture out of nowhere, and you know, damn whole dresser drawers and shit that I gotta, you know, that there's like 118 pieces coming this shit. I'm like, goddamn, you know. It took me almost 3 days, you know, because I'm starting to build it like when I come home from work, and I'm like, damn, I'm 4 hours in, I'm done right now, man. I still got like 4 or 5 more hours. It took me 3 days to build this new shit. I'm a specialist in furniture assembly. I love it, man. But you know, I like to have these talks because there's a lot of people that I know and I grew up with that I've been cutting off, man, and they've been disrespecting, you know, like disrespecting me, and I see that it's just a certain point in my life that I need to move on, and I don't care how long I knew you, I don't care if you're my family. Um, it's just I can't like I don't know, I can't be who I am, you know, and feel comfortable when my own peoples that I know the closest, like that's supposed to show me the most love and actually listen and give me some time to, you know, give me a conversation at least. You know, these are the same people that, you know, will talk behind your back and talk to somebody else and make fun of you and create a whole, you know, it's just I'm not with that. You know, once I got to a certain age, after coming out of the cult, you know, realizing how much time, how precious time is, pretty much. Yeah, I'm done with that bullshit, man. I mean, I'm always open, you know, if you want to have a conversation, but you got to come correct because I can't, you know, I have so little patience for stupidity and ignorance right now that I feel like an old man. Like I feel like I've been dealing with this for a long time because I've dealt with shit like this for a long time. That's why. So, what can I say about Charlie Kirk? I can't defend everything that everybody says. I know that there's certain things people just can't understand and can't agree with. You know, especially if you're maybe a lesbian or you're gay, and then you hear Charlie Kirk say that there's an LGBTQ agenda that's destroying the children. You know, which he made a comment similar to that. I might not be saying it exactly the way that he said it, so I hope I'm not, you know, speaking out of context. But I think I've heard, I think I remember what I heard, uh, at least generally to the effect of what he was trying to say, and I get it. I mean, he's a Christian who believes in the nuclear family of a husband and a wife, male and female. You have the right to your opinion. So why would I get mad that somebody says something like that when, he might think it's more extreme than it's really happening. So I don't know that. But even if he's saying that it's happening to us on a small level, that's still harming children, some children. And we see that. We see certain things being shown to children that they shouldn't be seeing. I mean, especially when it comes to sexual things, whether it's LGBTQ or not. But it tends to be that people in the LGBTQ community are just more promiscuous and they're just more flaunty and they like to show, more skin and they're more raunchy than I don't know, than the average I don't know, it just seems that way. At least when they do their parades and their protesting, is like, I don't understand why you need to be so sexualized, because you're gay. Why do you need to sexualize the fact that you're gay? Why do you need to sexualize the fact that you're a lesbian? Why can't you just be a lesbian and just be a normal, and there's people like that. But I'm saying that there's also what it seems like the majority, because of those are the ones that are loud and proud and all up in your face telling you what you need to accept. These are the people that trying to tell you that you can't tell them, you can't call them sir or ma'am or he or she. They don't like those words anymore because I don't know why. I don't understand why that would offend somebody, especially when you're clearly a he. You want people to play along with your mental delusions, and you can't expect people to go along with your personal definitions of what you believe, because we think we all just sat down in the same class and was taught the same shit. I don't know what people want to be called nowadays sometimes. Like, I don't follow every little fucking trend to see what's politically correct and all that. You shouldn't have to. If you want to be called, freaking Sean and your real name was Yvette, you can change your name. I'll call you Sean. But don't, because it's a name. Some names can be, gender fluid or bisexual. You know, you got, what you call it? Not bisexual, what did I say? What am I thinking, man? But yeah, but when it comes to genders or sex, see, that's the thing. They've separated what sex is and what gender is. So now there's two different definitions. It used to be the same thing. Gender is sex. Now gender can be what you feel. So I guess that's what we got to go by now. I mean, there was also a comment that Charlie Kirk, another quote that gets pushed out there, where he said that he doesn't believe in empathy. He believes in sympathy. And he said empathy is this new age word. And you got to look up the history of, the creation of that word and what it means. So, you can look up what he said on that. People are taking that out of context, and they're not saying the fact that he said that he prefers the word sympathy over empathy, that he doesn't like the word empathy. And people are trying to make it seem as if he's saying that he doesn't like empathy. He was just talking about he doesn't like the word empathy, and he doesn't, understand. He doesn't like the new age word because, it's irrelevant. It's unnecessary when you already have the word sympathy. So what's the difference between sympathy and empathy? It's the same shit, man. It's the same thing, essentially. They just trying to get, I see what he's saying, but it's like, I don't really care. I never thought about that. I never even heard that until people started bringing that up. And then I realized that he's just talking about the word empathy. He's not talking about the feeling, that he doesn't feel what other people feel. That's not what he's saying. So you got to watch. People are so evil, man. People are so stupid is what it is, too. People are very, very small-minded and they don't know who Charlie Kirk is. Let's get out of these sprinklers, because they coming. Yeah, so people don't really know who Charlie Kirk was and what he stood for and some of his talking points. I gotta admit that I haven't been following him so closely, and I don't think I ever really followed him so, like, on a daily basis, and listened to him at least, like, constantly. But every now and then I would come across Charlie Kirk on a school campus, on a college campus, talking about transgender people, using, men using women's bathrooms, men changing in women's locker rooms, and using the same, playing in the same team, on the same sport, and combat sports especially, because I could see a situation where maybe you could have a woman play baseball as a pitcher or something. But even then, there's some situations where pitchers, they'll take a hard hit. They don't really do that too much anymore, unless it's a catcher or something like that. But I don't. When it comes to combat sports, man, when it comes to fighting, when it comes to boxing, definitely MMA, football, and any rough sport like that, even basketball, because it's just not fair, because you got to consider that for baseball too. But I've seen girls, like, in Little League play with boys, and it's not such a crazy idea unless you start getting physical. That's just how I see it. So I'm not completely opposed to it, unless it's like a physical thing where you can now dominate. And you could say that you could do that with baseball. So just making y'all think, getting your brain juices flowing. Tomorrow is a fight, Canelo versus Crawford. It's going to be a good one. There are plenty of gay and lesbian people that don't advertise themselves as such. The loud ones are just confused or ill. Yeah, I think that it's a mental illness to be so loud about the fact that you're gay. I think that there's something going on with you where you need validation, is what it is. I think, sometimes the people that are the loudest, are the ones that, I guess, they crave some type of attention or validation or something like that. The ones that they want you to know, who they are. They want you to know even, like, your sexual preference. Like, it's just so weird, because I guess that I know the struggles. There's been struggles in the LGBTQ community. Of course, there's been hatred, there's been prejudices, and there's been targeting. But it's not running rampant. That's not a thing nowadays. You actually seen trans people killing, doing school shootings and things of that nature. So can't forget that. So it goes both ways. But it's like this victimhood mentality where they feel, well, we've been victimized so long, and now we're going to be loud and we're going to be in your face, and you better accept me, because if you don't, you're a bigot, just like people that, killed gay people. Like, it doesn't equate to that. Just because somebody doesn't agree with you, like, it'd be a good old Christian, man. Sometimes it'd be some, and you can see the pain, and you can see, like, them trying to cope with, not completely hating you because of your lifestyle, but just kind of just going by what the Bible, their book tells them to do and tells them to believe. And, as a person that's secular and non-religious, I consider myself somebody that respects, beliefs to a certain point, because it gets ridiculous sometimes. And when it, like, certain, like, belief systems can be problematic. So just because you label it under a religion doesn't mean I have to respect it, pretty much. I don't know. So, I look at people like Charlie Kirk. He was a very religious person. He lived a quiet life. What I mean by quiet is that he never caused any real harm. He never had any intention to, you know, stop people's speech or stop people from being who they are. And, even though his belief system condemns certain people that live certain lifestyles, you could see that he didn't let that get in the way of having a constructive conversation. He didn't let it get in the way of, having a dialogue that's beneficial. And yeah, just I'm not a closed-minded person, and I think sometimes religion can close your mind, to the point where you're not open to listening to other people's opinions or beliefs. But it's funny that people on the left side of politics have become those sort of religious type of people, like cult-like people. I think that the left, the only thing that they are missing is their almighty cult leader. But once a prominent Democrat rises up, because you don't really have one, you will see a death cult. I mean, I hope that it's never someone that has such radical ideas as I see a lot of people on the left have, because for now it's just a small percentage of the people that are on the left. It's a significant percentage. It's not very small. It's a significant percentage, but it's not the majority of people on the left that believe in such wild and crazy beliefs. But they go along with it because they have to have this total support of everybody on the left, the total support. So you have to go with all these things, really. Maybe I shouldn't sit here. I think homeless people be sitting here. I gotta find a good spot. But yeah, I got some light over here. Hold on. Yeah, man. Thumbs up for the video. I'm gonna keep this going a little longer. What up, DTX Sparks? Lori Parks. Over it. Let's move on. Oh, no. I'm not over it. I'm going to keep it going. South Park made an episode about him recently. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he didn't care. I played lacrosse with a female in high school because we didn't have a girls' team. Ah, look at that. Yeah, you meet some tough girls, man. There's some tough women cops. But they're far and few between. Because it's just not the norm, It's just not the norm. But let me see if I could find a good location to set up here. Damn, I thought I was gonna find a better location. Let me see. Right here? No. I mean, it's got good lighting for the most part. I used to have tables out here set up. I don't see them anymore. Let's keep walking. But yeah, man, it's clear hypocrisy, and I think people don't want to talk about it because they know it's true, and it exposes the hypocrisy that a lot of people on the left and a lot of people in the black community too, because not only were liberals promoting George Floyd as some type of hero. You saw it with like the Nancy Pelosi's with the damn African print. You saw him with you saw him kneeling, for you saw him kneeling for George Floyd after his death, and it's a perfect example of how he's being honored as some type of martyr, as some type of hero, even though he led a life of crime and drug use and raunchiness and sexual, deviant and all of that. I mean, that's what happened. That's the reality of it. And, it's embarrassing to people to be exposed. And I know people are embarrassed that you could go back and see the hypocrisy of people's Facebook posts because it's still there. And I remember these conversations with certain people that when George Floyd was murdered by Derek Chauvin, you had people that were saying that, well, why are we celebrating George Floyd, even though he was murdered? Okay, it's not right he was murdered. But why are we like celebrating this guy's life as if he was some type of example and shining example of how you're supposed to behave or how you're supposed to act as a human being? Because we know for sure that George Floyd was not a good human being. We know that. There's all types of evidence of that. And George Floyd is just as famous as Charlie Kirk was. Or George Floyd was just as famous as Charlie Kirk is. People don't be talking about George Floyd like that anymore. Not as much as they used to, but trust me, that name will never be forgotten. George Floyd. But what you'll see that people do is create excuses for why they reacted this way. So I had a conversation with a person on Facebook. You know who you are. And we were talking about, his whole post is talking about how you're supposed to leave a legacy. So after you die, you're remembered for good things. And Charlie Kirk didn't do that. He was talking about Charlie Kirk was a bigot. Charlie Kirk was a racist. And there was a Mark Twain quote that said something along the lines of, I never wished anybody death, but I've read many obituaries that made me smile or something like that. But yeah, I'm not generalizing, but I've been speaking to a lot of Black Americans hating on Latinos, Africans, Asians, etc. lately and blaming them for everything wrong with the Black American community recently. Yeah, I see that with people like Tariq Nasheed and, this foundational Black American FBA talk. Yeah, they're even talking about the, they're highlighting certain like beefs. They get so extreme, like everything's so racial and everything's such like just racially highlighted. I mean, but it's true. Haitians and blacks, for the most part, especially when we talk about Haitians from the land, from the country, from the old country, from Haiti, pretty much, and not the ones that have been Americanized and all of that. Yeah, they don't fuck with Black Americans. They have a whole different culture. I mean, I don't know what Haitians y'all been around. I've been around some real good Haitians, man. Real hardworking, religious Haitians that don't want their children to get tattoos, piercings. I don't know if it's just the Haitians I've been around, but they hate their children hanging out in the street and things like that. They despise that, hanging out in the street, just chilling. Wasting time, drinking, doing drugs. You don't see that. You don't see a lot of Haitians like that unless they grew up, in the damn hood here in America. But I guess also we got to consider that the Haitians that are coming to America are the ones that really want to do good for themselves and look for a better life. So you're gonna get the best out of the ones that come over here, and the that come over here initially. I believe that. I don't know. I've experienced that in New York City. Now, Florida is a whole different story with the Haitians in Florida. That's a fact. My brother Wilney pointed that out to me one time, and I was like, you know what? You might have a point there. I didn't really think about that. Haitians in Miami compared to Haitians in Brooklyn. Because there's a lot of Haitians in Brooklyn. They're deep. You see them in the West Indian Parade and all of that. Eastern Parkway Parade. In New York City. But it's true. Like the Dominicans, that be saying, listen, I'm not black. I know black. Yeah, I'm not black. Do I have percentages of African, any African DNA in me? Of course I do. Can you tell? I mean, but does that mean that I am black? No. And that's like, see, there's black Americans have been trying to seduce Hispanics to believing that they're black. They're trying to trick them into, you like me, you black, man. Well, the white man thinks you black. The white man's gonna call you black. That doesn't mean that I'm black. Like that's not true. First of all, that's the way they're thinking. They're actually exposing how racist they are by just saying, "Oh, you are black," because the white man's gonna call you black, so that means you're black. So why you thinking like the white man? And it sounds like you're saying it's wrong, and the way they're saying it is like, "Well, the white man thinks you're black." Well, is that wait? What? Why are you using that as an excuse for you calling me black? I don't get it. Just retarded people, man. I remember catching somebody in a debate one time when he said that on a live stream. I was like, and they're like, boy, if like a white cop pulls you over, they're gonna call you, they're gonna just look at you like you black. And I was like, so that's your reasoning for saying that I'm black? It's because some white person that pulls me over some white racist person that pulls me over is gonna say that I'm black. That's why I'm black. That's the reasoning that they give. Isn't that crazy? This is the way that they talk. Oh my God. I remember this one chick, man. She used to, this sister that was in the cult before she removed me from Facebook. She started seeing the way I was talking, and she was like, what do you think that you are? Do you think that you're not black? And I was like, I know that I'm part black, but I'm also European and indigenous. Why are you ignoring that? And why are you minimizing those things and trying to magnify the fact that I'm black? You black. Like, calm down with that shit. Jesus Christ. Like, they pushed that shit on us, and that's why a lot of us came into that cult. Because we always heard that we black. Oh, okay, I guess I am black. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, there's blacks in Dominican Republic, so I'm sure I got some black. But you got some black. That doesn't make you black. And that's just, Dominicans are mixed race. 85% of Dominicans are considered mixed race. And out of those 85% of Dominicans that are considered mixed race, the average DNA percentage of European in them is 55 to 65%. So the majority of Dominicans are mostly European. Especially in Puerto Rico, it's even worse. In Cuba, it's even crazier. There's more whiteness. Well, it's similar. It's all similar. It's not such a big difference in the percentages and distribution. But I appreciate everybody coming through, man. I'm just trying to find a cool spot to chill at as I walk around my neighborhood. Oh yeah, that's right. This is a place where I could charge my phone. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break real quick, and I've been thinking about just getting something to drink, maybe chill for a little while. I'll grab a little brewski wooski. Let me put y'all in my pocket. Y'all gonna hear me. Y'all ain't gonna see me.
All right, 457. You need a receipt?
I'm good. Have a good day.
You too.
Good night. All right. A lot of Europeans don't really fuck with white. Yeah, man. It was good, Nick Cody. Was good. I appreciate y'all feedback too. I'm gonna say Black Americans will hate each other for being from another country. Yeah, man. There's a lot of like narcissism in the black community, man. I'm gonna just say it. And um, you could say that it's in the white community too, man. But I just, it's like I come across a larger percentage of black people that are just like problematic somehow, man. Or like obnoxious and entitled as fuck, man. Sometimes like I don't know what I'm seeing. I don't know what's going on with black women. It's like black. I mean, listen, young black men have degenerated, man. You see it in Baltimore, and people that be from Baltimore that like, yo, you got no room to say shit about any other fucking race when they have tried to pull you guys out of all types of fucking poverty and damn ratchetness and putting money all up in the Baltimore public school system. And you got black people running the shit and failing the children. And it's nothing but black people and a few Jews running the fucking Baltimore school system. Literally, look it up. And a few, biracials, Derek Jeters, Drakes. It's ridiculous, my peoples. You know what? Do I want to go back to that? Let me go back over here. You got a lot of people that like rappers are the worst. Most rappers are black, right? Rappers, have you seen this damn video of Jim Jones in the airport getting kicked off the fucking plane because he's getting into a fight with passengers about I don't even know what, bro. I don't even know what's going on out here. But, I haven't had a little sip in a while or something. So I got me a Corona Familiar. Tomorrow we got a good fight. I thought I was going to go live tomorrow night. I actually don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. Because I do want to catch that Canelo versus Crawford fight, I believe it is. What's the man's name? What Crawford was his first name? I don't know. You know, you got the veteran, seasoned, who's getting paid 10 times more than the underdog who's hungry. You know, and it's a fight to the finish, baby. Who's gonna win? Tune in tomorrow. I wish I could do like a live hosting party where we watch the fight, but they will cancel my stream immediately. I did it once by mistake because I was going live and the damn NHL Stanley Cup was playing behind me. You know, the white man's favorite sport, hockey. And oh my God, damn, this shit's all drenched over here. I came to the wrong place. Oh, you know what? Let's go over here. Let's go over here, actually. Let's go over here. Yeah, man. There's there's a lot of money in this sports, man. It's amazing. It's amazing. Let's go right here. We're gonna be in the shadows. It's gonna be a little dark, y'all. Where am I at? Where am I at? I'm at 46%. So I gotta watch it. And I'm over here in the mossy ass grass. Let me see if I could crack open this brew. You know, I got some skills, man. I got some skills. I used to pop these shits open with my teeth, but I can't do it. I'm gonna break something. I'm old, man. Jim Jones is a big clown, but yeah, man, these rappers are some of the most narcissistic people you ever meet. Like, holy shit, who the fuck you think you are? And we're talking about Jim Jones. We fly high, we ride, we ball. Look, I don't even know how the hell the words go. That nigga wasn't flying high, he was flying Delta. And he wasn't balling, he was in coaching. He was in coach. Listen, man, I fly coach. Hold on, Charlie Kirk. For my nigga. Oh, they really gonna hate me for calling Charlie Kirk a nigga. Yeah, black people don't fuck with Hispanics because they think that Hispanics don't fuck with them. It's like this suspicion. And that's how narcissists are, pretty much. They're always suspicious of somebody. And they can't let nobody outshine them. You know, they gotta be the best ones, you know? So it's like, are you intimidated by Hispanics? My bad. You know? Don't be intimidated because a tall Hispanic like myself got his hair blowing in the wind, pulling your black women. Jim Jones said he was better than Nas. That's a joke. Ballin', coaching, Delta. My man was flying Delta. We fly Delta, we rollin', ballin'. Listen, Charlie Kirk is an American hero. Fuck what you heard, baby. I don't agree with him on the reparations argument. I do believe that reparations is due. It's past due. You know? But I haven't really heard a good plan of how that's going to be executed. Because you just can't start giving out money just because you see a black person. You know, but we're not so far removed from slavery where people could go 3 generations back, 3 or 4. And they're, you know, the sharecrops. But But yeah, Charlie Kirk didn't even listen to rap music, man. They were trying to talk to him about Kendrick Lamar and Drake, and said he was talking about how he knows Drake was involved in some type of pedophilia. So he's like, anybody that's a pedophile, he's like, I'm not gonna agree with you. And I didn't really realize that, with Drake. So, I can't support Drake either. But I probably listen to more Drake music than Kendrick. I ain't gonna lie. Even though I don't like either one of them. But there was a time when Drake was like listenable. Back, back when he was down with Houston, with the Houston Rap a Lot Records and Bun B, because he was signed to Bun B. He was signed to Ludacris too. Ludacris, I think, dropped him. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a low expectation. Like the fact that we allow, the fact that we celebrate this, some of this garbage ass music is another form of low expectations in the black community. Cardi B is a superstar. She's beloved by everyone in this country. I mean, not everyone, but a lot of people love Cardi B. And, you know, she's a very low IQ person, man. I mean, you can hear it in the way she talks. She sounds very stupid. I bet she has like have you ever heard her read? She sounds so stupid, but she has like a 7th grade reading level. It's fucking horrible. You could tell what grade people dropped out of school, or you used to at least. You used to be able to tell what grade people dropped out of school by their reading level. Now, people still be in high school with a elementary school reading level. They said that like about people in Baltimore, like 8th and 9th graders. 9th grader, you should be going to high school or in high school. Um, there's a good percentage of people that are going into high school that still have a 5th grade reading level in Baltimore. And it's bad all around the United States, but I call out Baltimore because it's just one of the worst consistently. I mean, the Democratic policies have not worked. And you had a lot of crooks and people that are taking money from government, using government funds, to benefit whatever the hell lifestyle they want to have. But, it's such hypocrisy, man, out here. I remember when in Baltimore, I think it was Freddie Gray that was killed. Like, the coverage behind that is like, dude, these people are scumbags, man. Like, why is the media hyping this shit up and black people jump behind it and they become a victim now when they don't even know the story? The Mike Brown story is a perfect example of the misinformation that comes with these stories where people think that, it's a victim story. Here's another victim. Here's another Rodney King. And when you look at the situation, it's like, this ain't no goddamn Rodney King. This is a damn criminal. This is a drug addict. This is a mentally unstable person. Why are we celebrating this person? Honoring them, and we're just disregarding their life. If you're saying that the actions that Charlie Kirk took left a bad legacy for him, if that's what you're saying, then how come, where's all that logic and where's all that energy when we talk about George Floyd? How's George Floyd a saint and Charlie Kirk is a sinner, man. This world is completely backwards, yo. I mean, this world is fucked. And this is the low expectations, man. You giving a pass to a degenerate like George Floyd, and you know you can't argue with me. That's why I don't even waste time with these motherfuckers sometimes. But once in a while, I'll peek my head in and make them look stupid. Just the ignorance, yo. It's just through the roof. We're here still celebrating the life and death of George Floyd. We're gonna be doing that. I mean, people are gonna be doing that till forever. That's gonna be synonymous with Memorial Day. So it's remembering George Floyd. Forget the veterans. They already got Veterans Day. Memorial Day is now George Floyd Day, pretty much. He's the new Martin Luther King. Because Martin Luther King came out, he was doing some raunchy activities in some hotels and stuff. Some orgies went down. If y'all haven't heard about the MLK orgies. I mean, listen, man. Charlie Kirk says some things, but MLK did some things, man. You know, are we gonna, you know, how's Martin Luther King's legacy? You know, how's that going? And why are you a hypocrite? Why are you not speaking about that? But Charlie Kirk, yeah, man, nah, we're gonna keep talking about Charlie Kirk, man. That man's gonna be remembered on my channel, man. So if you don't like Charlie Kirk, I'm really gonna make you mad. But he made some great arguments about LGBT, about trans and people changing their gender or their sex, or not wanting to be called a man when they're clearly a man. It's like biology escapes them, you know. So there's a lot of confusion on the left. They have no moral compass. They despise Judeo-Christian values, and it's really to their detriment when you look at it. I'm gonna throw some music on, y'all. I want to throw some music on. Nah, y'all won't be able to hear it. I'll take MLK having orgies over George Floyd being called a hero any day. Oh yeah, listen, MLK did not destroy his. I don't think that destroyed MLK's legacy. You know, the FBI was trying to use that against him. That doesn't mean it's okay. Just because the FBI was trying to use that against him, that doesn't mean that he's a victim. Because he did what he did. Oh, that damn cicada stopped. Them shits be making the craziest noises. I don't get it. I guess they're singing. But I see so many Afrocentrics complaining about not having anything. Yet George Floyd gets statues, street names, and murals. My aunt who lives in Austria, in Vienna, Austria, she knows who George Floyd is. Why? What did George Floyd do? Yo, man, we living in the fucking Twilight Zone, yo. Straight up. We are living in the Twilight Zone, bro. You hear me, man? I mean, I really like, I gotta try to keep my fucking sanity, because these motherfuckers will drive you crazy trying to figure out if something's wrong with the way that you're thinking. And I'm looking at all the excuses for why Charlie Kirk should be remembered as a bigot and a racist. And I'm like, yo, this is all you got? You could pick that shit apart real easy. I mean, if that's all you got, then all you got is a problem. Because Jesus of Nazareth, Mother of Mary, or Mother Mary, it's we're living in quite a time, man. And I'm gonna be just like Charlie Kirk, man. I'm gonna be the voice the voice of reason that pisses you off and constantly makes you think about what the fuck you did. You really sure about what the fuck you believe? Because I recall, I can recall going in time. If we go back in time, I mean, I can recall, some people just not having all the right ideas. There's video of George Floyd calling out these YNs, man. George Floyd had enough of it at some point too, man. He said, man, I can't even fuck with y'all mother. No respect. These young jits don't got no respect. And it's true. Excuse that. I'll take MLK having orgies over George Floyd being called a hero any day. I love that, yo. Let me screenshot that shit. I got screenshot. DTX, I appreciate you, man. That's well said. And yeah, I mean, shit. You gotta take one. If you gotta take one, I'm gonna take Martin Luther King, man. Martin Luther King said some real great things. He was so ahead of his time, and they killed him for it. Oh, sounds familiar, don't it? And you're gonna see 20, 30 years from now, you're gonna see the hypocrisy. People are gonna be more clear-minded. I mean, you can't hide the truth. You gotta look for the truth, though, and that's the problem. People are intellectually lazy, and people want to assume things. People already have an idea of who people are based on their beliefs and what they say. So if they hear somebody say that they don't really agree with DEI practices, they're probably going to assume that person's racist because of, that's all they've been taught with their political leaning, and their whole political party is teaching that the enemy is trying to kill you, and they just hate you, and they hate you because they think that you're inferior, and that can't be any further from the truth, man. I'm telling you, I've listened to hours and hours of Charlie Kirk. Like I said, I haven't watched him on a daily basis, but I'm telling you, I'm talking about 6 years of every other week, maybe, or every week, or maybe every other day. I'm scrolling through social media and a video of Charlie Kirk might come up, and guess what I do? I sit there and I listen to him, man. He was such a pleasant guy to listen to. His back and forths were way better than anybody else that I've heard. I'll say it's way more respectful, because better can be, and even that's a sad thing, because many things can be subjective. Like, what's better? We could argue about what's better. You can make a little argument, but what's respectful is just plain to see. I don't think there's any argument there, because we could argue about which politics are better all day, and you're gonna have data that backs this up. You might have data that backs this up, because sometimes a certain policy might be useful in a certain time, and then when another time comes, this policy might not be useful. There was a time when we needed civil rights. We don't need that shit no more. It's over. We're good out here. Black men are chilling. Black men are fucking everything out here, man. And they're popular, and they got the swag. They got the social media shit on lockdown. I'll tell you right now. Black men right now are the most watched demographic in social media. And they I think were the most paid in 2023 or 2022. I know it was like a year or two ago. I don't know if I haven't seen the recent data on it, but black men make a lot of money on social media. And black men may get a lot of a big following on social media too. Um, White people love black people, man. White people love black people. I don't believe this bullshit out here that there's this hate shit and white people are just jealous and shut the fuck up. That shit is so fake, man. You guys just want to be hated. You ever heard somebody say, "Oh, my haters are always, oh, I got haters." Like, shut the fuck up, man. Nobody hates you. You're an idiot. That's why people are talking shit about you. Nah, that's not always the case. But because there are people that hate, man. I got some haters. There's a dude I did a video on that. He's an ICGJC groupie that lives in another country. He's one of the few people that are international ICGJC members. This dude is just straight like brain damage retarded. And he be stalking me and shit and sending me messages about how God's gonna kill me. But I believe something's seriously wrong with him because it just nobody that has a normal way of thinking, like just a regular person is not going to just be constantly looking for you on social media, and then when you get blocked you're going to create another page so you can now have access again and send me messages. Like the dude is crazy. And I got some people that keep coming back in the comment section too, man. I appreciate you too. Yep. Let's go, family. My people. Let's go. Shit. All right. Rest in peace, Melissa Hortman. Remind me who's Melissa. Oh, yeah. From Minnesota, the Democrat who nobody knew. I'm like, who's that? Because I promise you, nobody else knows who the hell that woman is. But she was killed by a right-wing Republican that was, I guess, pro-life, and she was anti-abortion. I don't know if we got the whole motive behind Melissa Hortman's assassination, because that's what it was. It was a political thing. Therefore, it makes it an assassination. I think also religious things fall under assassination when it's a religious violence type thing. But man, oh man, I'll tell you, Charlie Kirk, there's very few things that you could find that he said or did wrong. Even Martin Luther King was having orgies. I never heard, and I don't know if it will ever come out, that Charlie Kirk was having orgies and shit like that. But the lowered expectations the lowered expectations that they put on the black community, I blame you guys for that, because I'm trying to uplift them by holding them to the same standard that y'all hold Charlie Kirk to. Y'all don't hold George Floyd to the same standard that y'all hold Charlie Kirk to. Right, D. Hogan? Tell me I'm lying. Tell me that you hold Charlie Kirk to the same standard that you hold George Floyd. Because, why don't you say names instead of saying him? Because I don't know about the pronouns. First of all, how do you know it's not a they? So let's be specific about the names, because we're talking about George Floyd. We're talking about Martin Luther King. We're talking about a lot of different things. George Floyd didn't encourage racism. How do you know that? And then how can you explain how who did encourage racism? You saying, look at the straw man argument. Now you got to give me an example where my man encouraged racism. Are you saying that George Floyd isn't famous? Because George Floyd is just as famous as Donald Trump. Everybody knows who George Floyd is. My aunt that lives in Vienna, Austria, knows who George Floyd is, and she even knows who Breonna Taylor is. Why? They're not famous. What did they do? Yeah, but he's still well known, and we know that George Floyd participated. We know that George Floyd is a convicted felon because he did a home invasion where he held black women, which is even worse than racism. It's violence against your own people. It's worse than racism, because racism could be your own little personal feelings that you keep to yourself. You're racist, but nobody really knows it. Encouraging racism means that you are saying that you should hate black people. That's encouraging racism. So tell me where Charlie Kirk ever encouraged people to be bigoted or hateful against black people. You can't find that. What you're gonna find are out of context and mistranslations and misrepresentations, just complete misrepresentations of what he said. They take the quotes out of context and never bother to actually listen to the entire discussion. Yeah, you can't show an example, right, D. Hulkman? But I can give you an example to where George Floyd, everybody's hero, was an evil motherfucker who was taking enough fentanyl that could have killed him alone. And it actually contributed to his death. And so did his heart valves that was all his aorta valve was all deteriorated and corroded and shit. The carotid or whatever the hell. But you know, you lower the expectations for black people, which actually makes you racist, because you believe black people don't have to be held to as high as a standard that Charlie Kirk was held to. Charlie Kirk, everything that he ever said right now is being scrutinized. And people are going through videos to try to find shit that he said to try to misrepresent him. And they're having a hard time, man. Pause. They're having a very difficult time. Let me use that word. Just to, they're having a very, very difficult time trying to pull up something to demonize this white guy. I mean, he's already being demonized because he's white. The fact that Charlie Kirk is white is already it's already a fighting uphill battle for him. Now he has to prove himself. And that's really the problem, is that there's people out here that assume that white people are just racist and they have to prove you wrong rather than them proving or you proving that they are racist. Because if you make a claim that somebody's racist, you have the burden of proof. They don't have to prove to you that they're not racist. So again, show me anything racist that Charlie Kirk has ever said. Tell me. Give me the quote so I can fix it for you, because I know you're going to fuck it up. And I'm waiting, man. Right. He got killed by a white guy. Yeah. Change the subject. He got killed by a white guy. So that means what? Yo, this person right here is just insane. Insane. How many murders are done in the black community every year? It's about the same as white people. The raw numbers are about the same as white people. White people will do like 100 or 200 more murders out of 5,000 or 4,900 that black people did. White people do 5,000. It'll be something like that. Or if it's 3,950, that black people did, white people would do like 4,139. So it'll be like 200 more. It's not that much. It's always very close. The problem is that there are almost 6 times more white people in this country. So why are black people committing the same amount of numbers against their own people as white people are doing when there are 5.5 times more white people in this country? That means that black people are murdering their own people at 5 times, 6 times the rate of white people. If you know any math, and I think that if you're from Baltimore, you probably have horrible math skills. So I gotta explain it to you some other way, probably. Yeah, the guy that killed him was left wing. His parents were right wing because he grew up Mormon. But you know, young people nowadays are not following the traditions of their parents, especially religious traditions, because young people on social media are very anti-religion. They're really like just very secular, and young teens are getting seduced by social media all the time, and they're going away from their beliefs. Tyler Robinson is the murderer of Charlie Kirk, and Tyler Robinson called Charlie Kirk a fascist, which is common left-wing, democratic tactics to label somebody as something evil to dehumanize them. Are you talking about the Tulsa race massacre? Why did the Tulsa race massacre begin? Who are the people that are always calling Trump and people like Charlie Kirk fascists and Nazis? It's left-wing people. That's a common left-wing tactic to dehumanize people. And that's the reason why Charlie Kirk was murdered, because people like you lie on his name and dehumanize him. So people think he's a danger. And now he's murdered because of false information from people like you. You're actually dehumanizing him by trying to make it seem like he's, so evil. And you haven't quoted one evil thing that he said. Let's keep that in mind, everybody. This person's obsessed right here. Jesus Christ. You see, it's just claims. This shit's crazy. You're defending fentanyl addicted porn stars. That committed home invasions and that's evil, man. If you can point to a situation where Charlie Kirk robbed somebody and broke into their home and pointed a gun at a pregnant black woman's belly, like George Floyd did, show me where Charlie Kirk ever pointed a gun at a pregnant black woman's belly. That's the comparison right there that we got going on right now. We got the media turned George Floyd into Aladdin. He's not a criminal. He was just stealing to feed his pet monkey. That was George Floyd. He was Aladdin, man. He's a hero, yo. I bet this motherfucker got a tattoo of George Floyd on his chest or something right here. There's people that have tattoos of George Floyd on them. Yo, people are fucking gone, yo. People are so gone right now, yo. But a good old Christian boy, that guy's the enemy, bro. Like, they were applauding that shit. That goes to show you right there the low expectations for black people. I mean, my man right here got a tattoo with two palms praying and George Floyd's face. That's what he got on his back. He got a back piece. People do got Trump tats, that's for sure. Yeah, mom. Donald Trump has a greater legacy than George Floyd, you know? Even though Donald Trump messed with a porn star too. George Floyd messed with porn stars too, but George Floyd was actually a porn star. See, Donald Trump, you know, he had higher values than that. At least he wasn't a porn star. But he did fuck a porn star. Maybe he fucked a few of them. But I promise you, Donald Trump never ran into nobody's house, you know, and stuck a gun to a pregnant woman's belly. Even if he didn't put a gun to a pregnant woman's belly, because some people debate that. And if he broke into, well, I think the evidence did show that because the victim spoke, but, you know, a little foggy. It's been a few years, but the fact is that he's a convicted felon for doing a home invasion and robbing his own people. So, you know, Donald Trump is hated by people like you, but George Floyd is loved by people like you. So shouldn't you be consistent and also hate George Floyd? If you want to be consistent, you should also hate George Floyd. And you should also say that, who cares if he died? What the fuck? Yeah, he should probably, you know, he probably didn't deserve it, even though he put himself in a crazy situation. He really did. And he didn't have great health. So, you know, his bad health and his years of using drugs and cocaine actually helped his demise. So, you know, he was slowly killing himself, George Floyd, before anybody even put a knee to his back. And Charlie Kirk was a family man that minded his own business and never got caught up in any controversy. And people are trying to say that he used the Asian slur, a racist slur against Asians. I mean, and that was proven to be false. So they're putting out misinformation in order to demonize him. They also said that he thinks black people can't be pilots. That's not what he said. So they're putting out misinformation in order to dehumanize him, just like they've been doing. And you can see Cenk Uygur, the dude that he was yelling at when he was like, Shank, he wasn't calling an Asian person a racial slur. He was talking to Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks. You know, the big brown sweaty buffalo of TYT. He was talking to that cat. And people said, he's just yelling at an Asian and he said a racial slur. I'm gonna melt. People having a meltdown, man. Even though black people, they call themselves the N-word every day, man. But let a white person say, what up, my nigga? They're gonna go crazy. Even though the context of it is endearment. It's a term of endearment, ain't it? So why are you mad when white people say the same shit that you're saying? The hypocrisy is through the roof, man. That's called lowering the expectations for one people. So you got low expectations for black people and what they do. And then you raise the expectation for white people and say, no, they can't do that. They should have better morals. But black people, we can lower the expectation. They don't care what you do. That's exactly what y'all doing. That's exactly what y'all doing. But Yeah, man. So I'll tell you right now, man. There's a lot of lies being told about Charlie Kirk because people don't want to admit that he was murdered because of the lies that were constantly being spread about him. You know, people were saying that he was anti-black. People saying that he's all types of stuff. He was setting it straight when the whole controversy with men playing in women's sports, men that want to be women and play women's sports. He was setting shit straight and he was letting you know that that ain't right. So he was fighting for women, including black women, white women. He didn't want to see women get pummeled by a nigga that thinks he's a woman now. But yo, D. Hogan, if that's what you about, yo, if you want to see black women get pummeled by white men in combat sports because that white man thinks he's a woman now, then you fit right in with the party that you're defending right now, because you're going up against Charlie Kirk, a man who was against all of that. So you don't even know what you're talking about. You know, I wish I could get you on here live, but I know that you won't come on. I know it. I just know it. He said people dying is worth owning guns. So let me ask you a question and I want you to answer it. Should we take people's rights to away to have guns? Are you saying that we shouldn't have any guns? Do you want to do away with Second Amendment rights and take away people's guns? Answer the question. Do you want to take away everybody's guns? Or do you believe that having gun rights is important? Do you think that it's okay to have gun rights? So you want to keep gun rights? You want people to have guns? Right? That's a yes. Because you don't want to take away people's guns. So the answer is yes. Right. So the answer is yes. So, but what about the people that get killed by guns? So my question to you is, people are getting killed by guns. So do you think that we should take away guns because people are getting killed? Do you think that we should take away guns because people are getting killed by guns? Okay. So you're saying that people are getting killed by guns, but because we should have guns, that it's worth that people are getting killed, because you agree that people should have guns. So the fact that people are dying by guns, it's worth having a gun. You are a fucking idiot, bro. You just admitted that you're just like Charlie Kirk. You are Charlie Kirk, nigga. I'm Charlie Kirk. Remember that? Remember Malcolm X? I am Malcolm X. I'm Malcolm X. I'm Malcolm X. I am Malcolm X. I'm Charlie Kirk. You're Charlie Kirk. He's Charlie Kirk. They are Charlie Kirk. And she's Charlie Kirk. Yeah, and guess what? Charlie Kirk would still be for Second Amendment rights if you could ask him. If we could ask Charlie Kirk right now, hey man, you were killed by guns. Do you still feel the same way that people should still have guns, or should we take away people's guns? He's gonna tell you that we still should have guns, just like you said. And you know that people are dying by guns. So what you're saying is that people should have guns. So what you're saying is exactly what Charlie Kirk said. Thank you. This is going to become a short. And I'm going to expose your hypocrisy, because you're saying the same thing that Charlie Kirk said. Yes, exactly. Thank you for agreeing. Yeah, I know you agree with him. I know you agree with Charlie Kirk. So why are you bringing up what he said as if it's a bad thing? You see? This is a troll right here. I'm so glad that you expose yourself as a troll. I mean, you are obsessed right now, bro. You are the only one commenting. Look at you. Jesus Christ. But I appreciate everybody that's here. You know, y'all could comment too, man. Don't let this foolish person take over the comment section and try to dominate the conversation. I know. But guess what? You idiot. Guess what you just said right here? You said, he said people dying is worth owning guns. Uh-huh. Why did you say that he said that? That he said people dying is worth having guns? Why did you say that? I'm asking you, why did you say that Charlie Kirk said that? Because I know you're talking about Charlie Kirk. I know what quote you're talking about. And you don't think I thought about this? That's why I just made you look stupid, because that's why I asked you the right questions. You got to ask these idiots the right questions. Do you think that do you think that people should be allowed to have guns? Of course you do. You don't want to take people's rights away for having guns, even though people are dying by guns. Do you know why? Because you think that the deaths are worth having guns. That's the right answer, bro. You are Charlie Kirk. I am Charlie Kirk. He is Charlie Kirk. They are Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk lives on in you, D. Hogan. Charlie Kirk lives on in you. You're trying to use that against him. You fucking liar. You just try to use that against him. You idiot. And I just made you look stupid because you just admitted to what Charlie Kirk believes. You are Charlie Kirk. I am Charlie Kirk. Jesus Christ, man. These motherfuckers are dumb, man. You don't think about this shit, yo. You are the fucking essence of what's wrong with this country, man. You take somebody's words and you fucking use it against him to dehumanize him. And that's why he's dead, because of people like you who are not conservative. The person that killed him was not a conservative, man. He was left as hell. Don't you know that his own family was the ones that exposed him and he turned himself in? They forced him to turn himself in? They did the right thing. Those are good conservative people. That motherfucker was going astray from the family. He should have kept his Mormon traditions. You know, because Mormon people don't kill. This guy wasn't a conservative. He became radicalized by the left, and that's what makes you, you know, a fascist, pretty much. These are fascists. You're killing your political opponent. You're murdering your political opponent. You're a fascist. Although he would say, or he did say, and he wrote on the bullets and on the gun that this is that eat these bullets or take that with you, and you're a fascist and all this shit. Yeah, Trump is one person. The left is a whole huge community of people. Go to these left protesters, man. Go watch Nick Shirley's channel and see how many times he gets called a fascist or a Nazi. Because people are properly called fascists, you know. But that's not a common thing that you see Trump doing to people, calling them fascists. I mean, if you want to kill your political opponent, I mean, that's fascism. That's if you want to control the narrative of the media, the propaganda that's being pushed in this country is all by the left-wing mass media, because the left owns the NBC, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, and ABC owns Disney. They own Star Wars, you know, Disney and ESPN. You got all this liberal fucking energy being pushed your way. And that's controlling the media. That is fascism. Kamala was interviewed by one of her sorority sisters, and they made it seem like it was a good faith interview where she was asking tough questions. She got thrown softballs at her, and you know, that was a way of manipulating people to believe that she's being transparent when she wasn't. They edited the shit out of the video and the interview because she was a horrible speaker, and people are mad that Donald Trump has the ears of people like you. He has your ears. He has your attention, and you're looking at nothing but the negative. And you could point negative things out about me, and I could point negative things out. I'm sure people could point negative things out about you. We don't know who the hell you are, because you're our faceless commenter that probably will never go live and reveal themselves. I don't know, you know, like, people are scared to actually talk in person because it's easier to just throw out a million comments and go in a million different directions. But, you know, I could always just ignore your comments and read other people's comments. Some people, unfortunately, might die, but the benefits outweigh the negative. Yeah. I mean, we can't, you know, delete all guns off the earth and shit. Yeah, it's already done. Guns are here. What are we gonna do now? Take away the rights to have guns? So now, if anybody's ever caught by a gun with a gun, we got to take that gun off of them, and the government's gonna take all our guns. The reason why one of the reasons why the Second Amendment rights are there is to also protect ourselves from the government. Because the government could get too powerful, and we don't want that either. Liberals have sided with foreign enemies. They are no longer American. D. Zohan, you are correct. Check out what the Democrats, the alliance with Democrats and Nike and China and the NFL and ESPN. I mean, shit. There's so much power with these foreign countries. And China, we get most of our grains from China. We get most of our rice from China. I mean, shit, man, we got to learn how to coexist better. And nothing helps more than just talking, man. I get that from Charlie Kirk. That's what he said. He's like, when people stop talking, that's when the violence starts. What a person to live by. Man, listen, I'm going to be quoting Charlie Kirk for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. Trump is a living legend. He fucking is, man. Trump is a fucking living legend. He is, man. I don't give a fuck what people think. Trump has said many stupid things. Trust me, I know. Yeah, man. Trump is human. I wish he would admit certain things more, but, you know, politics, man, politics. You can't win. You can't win them all. I mean, he's one of the most honest politicians I've ever heard in my life, man. I actually like the fact that he's a little bit different from the rest of these people. That's actually something that I started liking about him. You know, I've always liked Donald Trump in a way. I remember when he was on the Method Man album on Tikal 2000. He was in like the one of the first skits on side B, and he was talking about getting the album ready. He was like, oh no, it was like the last skit on side A. It was like at the end of side A, and he was playing a bunch of messages from like Russell Simmons, Naomi Campbell, and Donald Trump, and they were all talking about, yo, when's the album coming out? When's the album coming out? And Donald Trump was one of them, man. Donald Trump is the man, yo. Come on, son. You know how many things I've said, man, in the past that you could hold against me? I can't wait until Donald Trump gets the next real raw interview with somebody like a Joe Rogan or what's the dude, man? Damn, I can't remember this dude's name now. That interviewed him, the dude from New Orleans, man, that has a very popular podcast. That's cool. He's cool with Joe Rogan too. I forget his name. But they say those interviews that he did with those popular YouTubers is what helped propel him to his second term in the White House. Yeah, Hitler had a dog, you know? You ever think about Hitler's dog? You know? Hitler's dog loved Hitler, yo. You know, he didn't care that Hitler said whatever the fuck he said. Hitler had a dog, yo. Think about that shit. That dog didn't care. That dog loved Hitler, bro. That's how some of y'all are, man. With the Democratic Party, man. Y'all are the dogs of the fucking Democratic Party, man. Y'all make excuses for shit. Y'all act just like them. Don't lie, man. Y'all motherfuckers was out here saying that George Floyd deserves a statue. So you right in line with the Democratic Party. You lower the expectations of black people. You lower the bar. And you expect black people to be like a George Floyd and shit. George Floyd was actually asked to be put on the ground, yo. Yeah, he swallowed so much fentanyl. And the coroner and the death report said that he wasn't killed by asphyxiation. It wasn't asphyxiation. It was a combination of a few things, but Theo Vaughn, baby, there you go. You got it. Yo, Savon, you be on point, man. Thank you for always coming through and fucking when my brain glitches, yo. I was just watching him too, because he was talking about Charlie Kirk. And he said, listen, I don't agree with he said we had different viewpoints. I agree with Theo Vaughn more than I agree with Charlie Kirk. I'll tell you right now. I'm on that tip right there. I'm just like that, I think. He seems like he's an atheist, but he respects people's right to religion, to belief. He used to be in a cult. Theo Vaughn used to actually be in a cult. Did y'all know that? Yo, Theo Vaughn was a part of some type of religious cult when he was young. I think it was a religious cult. I might be wrong on that. DEI is lowering the bar. I'm glad you agree. Yeah. Nepotism, at least with nepotism, you know the person that you're dealing with. With DEI, you just feel like you know the person because they're the same color as something, you know, they're a certain color. So it's like, okay, well, you black? Well, then, okay, we're going to make a good exception for you. You know, Barack Obama put Michelle Obama as head over the food and health department. Barack Obama put Michelle Obama over the food and health department. I forget exactly the name of the department. It was like something that board of, I forget what it's called, but you know, the food and whatever. So he made her like the health czar for the country, even though she went to school for law. So what do you call that? You know, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I mean, shit, he knows his wife. Maybe he knows something we don't know. As far as I know, she didn't have any expertise in any nutrition or health or anything like that. You know, but I don't see you holding people to the same standard, certain people. I guess it's because you expect degeneracy, or you expect something that's not right to, you know, it's acceptable when black people do it. You're racist. You're racist. You want to call out white people because you actually hold white people to a high standard. You're like, yo, you're white. How dare you say this or do this? Like, damn, you think white people should be walking on eggshells, but you think black people can do whatever the fuck they want, it seems. That's kind of racist because you're not holding black people to a high standard. You're lowering the bar and you're lowering the standard. And you're not calling out Barack Obama. You're calling out, you know. the Donald Trumps and the but I constantly have a comeback for you, man. So you just got to be ready whenever you say some shit. You know what I mean? Jelly bean. DEI protects handicapped people from being fired. There are laws already in place, depending what state you're in. DEI also creates initiatives for white women because they're women, and they might get certain positions over a black man because they're a white woman. We already have laws that protect veterans from being fired. DEI didn't help that. They're like, what are you talking about, man? Like, DEI was a great initiative. Shut the hell up, man. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. DEI is equal outcome, and what we need is equal opportunity. What you're trying to do is socially engineer our society with DEI. And you're trying to throw out other things that's not even like, you're just lying, bro. We need less government intervention is what we need. We don't need the government trying to tell us who we should hire. Now, the government shouldn't be dealing with private businesses. If you're running a private business, it's up to you. It's your choice to hire whoever the fuck you want to hire. You don't need the government trying to tell you what to do with your own private business. And the fact that you don't own a business is the reason why you don't care about that, or you don't even think about that, because you don't own a business. So it doesn't bother you. So who cares, right? if it interferes with the way a person runs their own business, who cares? Because you don't own a business, so you don't have to deal with it. We already have equal opportunities. DEI is about equal outcome, not equal opportunities. So you're wrong. You don't understand what DEI is. We already have equal opportunity. DEI is about equal outcome, not equal opportunity. So you don't know what the hell you're talking about. But go ahead and take a look at that for a little while. Yo, I think I'm gonna go upstairs, man. Y'all wanna come through? Let's go. Let's go. Let me make sure I got my keys. Let me make sure I toss this bottle in the disposable trash bin. Yeah, people been fighting for equal tariffs to China for a while, man. And when it comes to that, we have to start creating our own shit. But Mexico has no tariffs. Canada has no tariffs. and the countries, the nearby countries. I know Dominican Republic is about to get blessed with this. I mean, they already got blessed with a small tariff percentage. And the thing about that is that you're not going to see quick results, but in the end, it's going to be all for the better. We need to be more self-sufficient in this country. And I think we're moving in the right steps, to do that. So you got to be aware of why these policies are being put into place. And don't always look at the negative, because it's very easy to do that when you don't agree with your little political opponent and you just want to get a win. ¿Cómo está? ¿Tú tienes otro cigarrillo para mí? Oh, okay. Bueno. But that's how it goes. And if you knows, you knows. I'll be right back. There we go. Those are international businesses. It's international trade and imports. What are you talking about? I thought businesses should operate without government interference. What are you talking about? This is international trade and import and exporting, man. These people, some of y'all just need to stop talking so much. You talk as if you're intelligent, like if you're gonna be doing so much talking, make sure that you know what you're talking about. Like, the fuck? You see these comments? This shit is crazy. Yes, less government, but government is necessary. So what are you talking about? Government is necessary when dealing with geopolitics, man. What are you saying? But we should. This is retarded. Let's watch some baseball, huh? No, it's not business when we talk about international politics and geopolitics trading. So, I mean, how are tariffs more governments? It doesn't make sense. I thought you were leaving. Yeah, American businesses are operating without government. Well, I mean, I believe that they should. So, what does that have to do with tariffs? Because just because you have to regulate international trading, importing and exporting, it doesn't mean that we have to have DEI practices. So you're not being consistent. You're not making sense with what you're saying. If you really listen to what you're saying, it's you're not making any sense, bro. It's not telling people who they should hire. That's not telling businesses that they need to hire, a certain amount of gay people and shit. I don't know why you would want businesses to have to hire a certain amount of gay or black people. You want to fight for the right to party. What up, Stephanie Marie? tariffs don't tell businesses where to purchase from. Stop constantly being wrong. And why are you commenting so much, yo? Go to bed, dude. Seriously, you need to go to bed. Because your brain is like ADHD on fire. That girl is on fire. Keep coming back. You could come back next time and take a break. Oh right, let me. My bad. I gotta connect to the Wi-Fi. That's right. What's funny? Yeah. I'm all about opportunity and inclusion and equity and diversity, but I don't know. Maybe I'm misled and misguided about what's really going on behind those agendas. I don't know. I just feel as like a person that wants to eventually start my own business and create jobs, that I don't want the government in my shit, because all I'm doing is trying to create, you know, my own thing and have, you know, maybe I could have an editor. Maybe I could have I don't know, a co-host, and yeah. Cali has some fire. Yeah, is the internet better? I forgot to connect to the Wi-Fi, yo. My bad. I don't have strong Wi-Fi though, but it shouldn't be bad at this point. That was because I came from outside and I had the Wi-Fi off. San Bernardino, okay. I've never been to California, and you always are going to focus on the worst things, the bad parts. And I hear a lot of bad things about California because California has a lot of different cities with high crime. Oakland is bad. Los Angeles is horrible. San Bernardino is actually pretty nice, ain't it? And I've heard of, some. I've heard of San Bernardino, but I can't recall where. Cali has the best weed, right? Yeah, I agree. I had a boy that used to get shit from out there. I haven't smoked anything from Cali in a minute. I definitely used to get like OG Kush, but I'm a Purple Haze lover. OG Kush, I think, is similar, right? Oh no, Kush and Haze are different. My bad. Kind of want to play some música real low. Yeah, I got some swag right now. I don't got nothing real good. That brown swag bag. It's a little green. Nah, it's really green. I remember when I came from New York City. New York City. And I came out here and I tried to bud the green out here. I was highly disappointed. But after a while, I started liking it better because I didn't really like how strong the weed was getting. And I don't think I could hang with all that Cali shit, to tell you the truth. The weed out here in Florida is very, very mild. And I'm a mild person. I like, I don't need too much strong shit. To tell you the truth. I get high easy. Yeah, I've had Girl Scout cookies. I had Blue Dream. Right? The Blue Dream? Or Blue Jeans? I forget. So many fucking names. I used to actually buy a whole ounce, right? And I would get a pound of butter to go with the ounce of weed. And I would buy some cheesecloth, right? Cheesecloth is good for um, extracting oil from certain, you know, flowers. And you boil the flour. No, you don't boil it. Because you don't want to scorch it, so you can't go over 120 degrees. I believe it is 125. You can't go over 100. I never went over 130 degrees. I think I did 128 one time because I wanted to get it done faster, and I didn't like the way it came out. So I think I got the hang of 120 to 125 degrees for 8 to 10 hours. 8 to 10 hours. You put it in. I would boil it right up in the big measuring cup. I would not boil it, but I'll bake it. I'll have it in the oven at 120 degrees, and then once and already in the cheesecloth, and then once you, or you could do it. I forget actually how did I used to do it. But I think I've done it two different ways, but you pretty much use the cheesecloth to squeeze the oil from the flour, into whatever, to squeeze that, that THC and get that raw shit out, man. You extract it. Um, then you can use oil or butter. I like the butter better because, I mean, the oil is healthier, the coconut oil, the raw, unfiltered coconut oil, um, because it's healthier, but it doesn't stick as good when you try to infuse the cannabis oil or butter, can of butter or can of oil, and you try to create whatever you're gonna create. Like I used to create the Rice Krispies treats or the little snacks or whatever with cereal, and I would use the butter with the cereal to make it stick, and the butter would make it stick good. But when I try to get healthier and I started using the oil, oh, wedding cake is great, yeah. When I tried to get healthier and started trying to infuse it in oil, um, and I tried to make the Rice Krispies treat or the little Fruit Loops squares. That's how I used to make, and I used to distribute them for a deal. You know, I'm evil, bro. I ain't no saint. I ain't no sinner. But then I just haven't. I haven't made it in a while, and I miss it. But I remember when I did the butter, man. That shit really like. It was my first time. Like my first 3 times was with like butter, 3 or 4 times, and it wasn't really selling like that. But I used to eat all my shit, and my cholesterol got raised like crazy because of all that butter. So that's why I started using the oil. And then I just stopped doing it because the oil wasn't. I had to find. Maybe I got to look it up now and find something that I could maybe put with the oil to help it stick when I try to create them, little squares. Because sometimes I don't want to smoke. Sometimes I want to. I don't. I want to give my lungs a rest, man. Give my lungs a break. But yeah, biscotti gelato. Damn, you just naming everything. What up, Emanuela? Emanuela, Godson. Well, that's a beautiful name. Cause Emmanuel means God with us. So that's just a. I don't know if you created that name or if that's your given name. But yeah, edibles are too strong. Ice cream cake. Yeah, I like edibles. Edibles is good because it doesn't leave a smell. But sometimes you could eat an edible and then it could be a Saturday, and you won't feel it until Monday morning. I never experienced that, but that should happen with somebody I know. And he didn't feel nothing until like the or it was no. It was like a Sunday night, and then he felt it a Monday morning because he went to work, and then he had to leave work and didn't even tell his boss, and he just left. So Charlie Kirk's wife spoke out. I'm Charlie Kirked out. I know the title talks about George Floyd and Charlie Kirk. Let me see if I can find some George Floyd stuff because it's been a while since I listened to George Floyd. He says some good shit. You should type the name George, and one of the suggestions should be Floyd immediately before you even put an F. But if you put George F, you're gonna get George Floyd immediately. Somebody said George Floyd, Charlie Kirk. Okay, George Floyd, Charlie Kirk. Let me see. What did Charlie Kirk ever say about George Floyd? Let me see. For a 2 a.m. cyber attack with 90% of ransomware attacks. Let's talk about weed. We out here we got farmers markets for weed. Oh, word. The dust has barely settled on Charlie Kirk's death, and the usual suspects, the hashtag The Kind Brigade, have already shown their true colours. Oh, this is great. Are they exposing? The president-elect of the Oxford Union appeared to celebrate the murder of Charlie Kirk. The president-elect of the Oxford Union. On toxic masculinity earlier this year made the comments on WhatsApp and Instagram. He said, "We got Charlie shot. Let's effing go." He's since, of course, apologised, and the Oxford Union has condemned the comments too, but condemned those evil comments. Will not be taking action. Yeah, Emanuela, we're talking about different things, man. We're talking about the hypocrisy of how people honor George Floyd, but they are demonizing or celebrating even the death of George Floyd. You have protesters that have come out yelling, "Yeah, Charlie Kirk is dead. Charlie Kirk is dead." Activists. You have people commenting that are getting fired. You have important people that are heads of universities, teachers getting fired. And I believe in freedom of speech, but I also believe in a private business having the right to hire and fire whoever the fuck they want for whatever reason, and you can't say boo. 700 for the P of some fire. A pound? Get out of here. I used to get 700 a pound for. I used to sell a pound for 700. I used to buy Reggie's. I'm talking about Reggie's. Garbage weed. Motherfuckers make money. I used to make money off of Reggie's. I used to make more money off of Reggie's than selling that loud piff. I used to always call it the piff. I made more money off of the Reggie's. I don't know why. I'm talking about the shit with seeds, yo. And I used to buy them for $560 a pound. 520. Maybe at the lowest I ever got for a pound of swag. I'm talking about the brown swag seed. and I would sell it for 700. I sold it once for 1,000 because it was somebody that came up from Chicago, and he asked me, "Do I sell it for 1,000?" And I said, "Yeah." He asked me if I would sell him a pound of Reggie's for $1,000 without asking me how much I sell it for. I would have gave it to him for 700, but he had money, man, and I said, "Yo, shit, I deserve compensation. You know, it's the price of doing business, baby." But I don't do that anymore. Just so everybody knows. Shit, you know, I might want a good prestigious job one time. They're gonna see this live stream because of y'all. I blame it on you guys. I'm not gonna get the opportunity I can because wait. That could be a DEI hire. Yeah, man. So DEI is a great topic that I want to talk about sometime in the future. But um, how do you feel about legalizing marijuana though? Like, how do you feel about states that don't want to legalize marijuana? Marijuana. You know, one thing I'll say is that this country, I love this country because if you don't like the state that you're living in, you might be able to move to another state and be more in line with the policies. You know, so if you don't want to live in a state that has legalized marijuana, then you have that right, even, and you can move to a different state if you have the means, you know. Um, I don't know. Oh, you're from Nigeria? Okay. I've seen what's going on in Nepal. Sometimes I follow some global news, but yeah, have a good night. You know, what we got going on right now in America is everybody's talking about Charlie Kirk, but you know, Nepal had a revolution because the Nepalese government. Were you mentioning this? Do you know about this? Anybody? They put a ban on social media in Nepal. Um, you know, and the Gen Z, the Generation Z, they weren't having it. They were not hearing it. They were not trying to have their simple rights of using their phones. Like, I mean, the country literally banned um, Facebook, X, you know. I don't know exactly if it was all social media. I believe it was all social media. Can you believe that? Hmm. But I've never heard of anybody overdosing off of like marijuana. Is that even really a thing? I don't know. They should name a strain after Charlie Kirk. That could be a thing, man. I mean, why not? Oh, you ever heard Jack Herrera? Jack Herrera, right? That's a good one right there. I don't know if you mentioned that one. That's a good strain. Yeah, I had my first beer in a week. I haven't had any hard liquor in 3 weeks, and I've been smoking every day. I drop one vice and pick up another, and if I drop the smoking, I might pick up more drinking. I drop the drinking, I'm gonna pick up more smoking. But I would say it's better to be a heavy smoker than a heavy drinker. Don't you agree? I feel so much more sober minded, pun intended, when you know I'm off of the alcohol. I mean, I could tell that I'm thinking clearer, you know, just by giving it a break. Cause man, I went weeks, I went months where, or I went weeks where I've drank maybe 3 days out of the week, 4 days out of the week, probably the worst I've ever done. That's not good. But you know, Hispanics like to party. Sometimes you get time off, you get a little buck wild. And I never been on a cruise. You know, that's usually what people do when they're on a cruise and shit. They'll drink like every day for like 4 or 5 days. I couldn't even do that, man. I don't know how I feel about just being out in the ocean, out in the open seas, you know, for days on end. I've seen too many stories, man. I don't know. But if you want to see some good TV, man, I can't put it. Well, I could, but I'm not. Pierce Morgan, man, had Zenk Uger and one of who used to speak against Charlie Kirk, and Rick Rubin from the Rubin Report, who's a conservative, a gay conservative that left the Young Turks. Do you know who the Young Turks are? Like if you're from California, you know who the Young Turks are. TYT. Anybody out there, talk to me. All right, nice chatting with you, Emanuela from Nigeria. Bless you. Bless your heart. Bless your soul. I know the SARS police is in Nigeria, and they were doing some atrocities against protesters. So I don't know the whole political state, the whole environment, the climate right now in Nigeria. I haven't checked it out in a while, but I know it could be a little, it's a little tough out there, ain't it? I forget the capital of Nigeria. Nairobi is out there, I believe. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about another part of Africa. White people. Well, I mean, I can't do these body cam videos right now. That shit gets loud. People are saying Charlie Kirk wasn't murdered, he was martyred. It wasn't that he was murdered, it was that he was martyred. I tend to agree with that, my friends. But it's 2 in the morning, man. I was hoping I got a better conversation. Well, I mean, it was a good conversation, but I was hoping I got more participants. Thank you for coming through, man. I'm gonna call it a night. It's getting late. I just want to have a talk about all this stuff, man. I think people are being very hypocritical about what's going on in this country. I think we're lowering the bar for certain people, and I think it's because of their race. Um, Charlie Kirk wasn't a devil. I know, the thumbnail is baiting, but rest in peace, Melissa Hortman. Man, I hate you, bro. Yeah, rest in peace to Melissa Hortman. That's political violence. And I spoke about it with a brother that's from Minnesota because that happened in Minnesota. And rest in peace. We can't even think of the second person that was killed, right? I mean, look it up for me, please. There was a second person killed. It wasn't just Melissa Hortman. But I think Melissa Hortman was the one that's considered an assassination, right? Or was the second person also political? Or was it her husband? I don't remember. It was her husband, right? Oh, right. There you go. You just said it. I just read it. Yeah, yeah. So it's political because of her. Yeah, it's an assassination. How many assassinations have there been in this country? I mean, how many happen every year on a regular, what, a one or two a year? You know, have there been years with no assassinations? I think there have. You know, it's not as much as gun murders, gang violence, or yeah, gang violence, or yeah, that's a big problem. And gangs aren't necessary. I hate people that try to make the argument that, oh, gangs provide protection for the community. Like, shut the fuck up with that bullshit. Let's fix that up. Fix that up. Is this what I think it is? Wow. Yeah, Rick Rubin came on Piers Morgan's show and talked about Charlie Kirk. So he's gay. He's a conservative. He used to have dinner with Charlie Kirk and his wife, with his husband. So it's a gay couple, which Charlie Kirk spoke against because he's a Christian, right? I'm not a Christian, so I'm not against that. So that's where me and Charlie Kirk differ. I'm not against gay marriage. Charlie Kirk is, or was. So we differed. I don't personally care about that, and I hope that don't bother people, you know, but it doesn't bother me to say that. It's the truth. Why? Why am I going to be worried about that? You know, you have your own reasons, right? Okay. I feel you, and I feel you're right to believe in that. But I don't agree with that, and we can have our differences. That's fine. I can never agree with everybody. I don't agree with Ben Shapiro's views, you know, on a lot of things, bro. I don't even listen to that cat as much as a lot of people that consider themselves conservative. He's one of the most popular conservatives that I listen to the least. But from what I have heard, he's, you know, somebody that's hard to deal with because he speaks so fast. But Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks was embarrassed. You gotta watch this, man. People don't understand what's going on with politics right now in this country. This has been boiling for a minute. Let me show you some views here. It's just, you know, I got my furniture all up in the shit because, like I said, I've been building furniture because my wife has me slaving. You know, that's what we do out here, bro. I never got reparations either. Shit. It's a bad taste joke, my bad. But here we go.
You're talking about millions of dollars, and that would be cost prohibitive. So the question is, what do we do as being public figures? Is it worth it for us to entertain and expose ourselves in these type of venues, or are we going to have to be put behind bulletproof glass or forego these type of events? That would fly in the face, which is exactly what Tyler Robinson wanted to do. He wanted to scare us. He wants to chill our First Amendment right to be free to speak our opinions and our minds.
For everybody, even on the left.
Now is hesitant or now thinks otherwise.
Now, people on the left
That's
might be
why
scared,
we
right? People on the left right now might start getting scared to speak out about their beliefs. But I think that people on the right and Trump supporters are actually the ones that have to be on the cover more often. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit, as you can see,
I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you
because
very
I don't agree with Trump on some things, you know.
much. Well, let me turn now to
I'm an atheist, y'all. I don't believe that we have a intended purpose or intended creator.
on the same view.
You know, but I don't fuck with, you know, with Neil deGrasse Tyson because I think he's a fucking idiot. Nah, he's smart, man. He's smarter than me. You know, but it's certain things that I hear him talk about, and I'm like, yo, I know more than him on this topic. He don't know what the fuck he's talking about. All right, this is it. These are the people right here.
Almost the opposite of what this shooter appears to believe that he represented. What is your reaction to it?
Here's, before we do the political side of this, I just lost a friend. My friend was assassinated. A man who I spent an awful lot of time with, who I broke bread with many times, who I sat at weddings with, who I toured with and did many of these college shows with. A man who, as I was leaving the left about a decade ago and realizing the hysteria of the progressives, who welcomed me, even though we had various different opinions on very closely held things like abortion and marriage and taxes and death penalty and all of these things.
Death penalty,
and
wow.
in the 10 years or so that I knew Charlie Kirk, I never had one bad experience with him. I had only good experiences with him.
Humanize him. Let's humanize him.
Part of this, yes, Charlie was better at reaching across the aisle than anyone. I like to think that I'm pretty good at it, but as an apostate from the left, someone who left
No, he
the left,
doesn't. He
in some
looks
sense,
very
they
normal.
want less
Wait
to
till
do
you
with me
wait
than
till you see
someone
Cenk
else,
Uygur
so it became harder for me to reach across the aisle. Charlie
sweating.
spent his life trying to widen the tent that is the conservative movement. He wanted the ex-liberals like me and Elon Musk and Joe Rogan and Tulsi Gabbard and RFK, the thing that Donald Trump represents in a wide tent MAGA movement, because it's based in America and freedom. And I don't know anyone, literally anyone on earth, who was doing it better than him. So I mourn deeply, deeply for my friend, and I mourn for America, because in your intro you laid it out correctly. There's a lot of anger right now. There's a lot of sadness, I can assure you of that, but there's a lot of anger. And I feel it's incumbent on me, and hopefully guys like you, Piers, to be a little bit better right now, because otherwise this very precious experiment could veer out of control unbelievably quickly.
I think that's completely right. Cenk, you and I have talked a lot about the toxic nature of political discourse in America, and you've been very critical of the woke left, actually, in particular, and the way they've over-demonized everyone, calling everybody Hitler, fascist, and so on. It seems that this 22-year-old shooter had, anti-fascist insignia on his ammunition. It's pretty clear, I think, that he hated Charlie Kirk and wanted to silence him.
Anti-fascist.
Political allegiance that may or may not.
Anti-fascist is Antifa. Antifa is not far right. Antifa is not right at all. Antifa is mad anarchists. They're fucking anarchist liberals, communists.
In the absurd guise of being anti-fascist.
Never ever stop reaching for what makes you feel whole.
I gotta wait for these ads, but perfect time to just, like, tell you what's going on, man. That's Dave Rubin talking to, that's Piers Morgan's show. He had Dave Rubin, I kept saying Rick Rubin. It's Dave Rubin, earlier, right? I think that's what I said. I don't know. Dave Rubin and Cenk Uygur. Cenk, not Cenk. They were on Piers Morgan after Charlie Kirk died. They all knew Charlie Kirk, man. And, just a great testimony of somebody that actually knew Charlie Kirk, because I didn't know Charlie Kirk, and nobody in this chat right now knew Charlie Kirk. So let's hear from some people that actually knew him.
I think that this is a huge problem in America right now. So to the point that Dave's making, look, so Dave changed some of his opinions and didn't change others, right? I didn't change any of my opinions, but Charlie and I had many conversations. He came on the Young Turks at the Republican National Convention and the Democratic National Convention. I went to America Fest. I got a lot of heat for going to America Fest.
Yeah, they are
The
pro
part of that that's
capitalism.
left out is that Charlie invited me to.
But
And not because I had changed any of my-
Antifa's communist, and you have democratic socialists. They call themselves democratic socialists for a reason. They want to implement more social programs, which is going to include grocery stores. That's already a thing in even in the Midwest. I think they've done that. As long as, you know, I mean, it's government stuff, man. I grew up on government assistance, you know, because my mother passed away when I was 17 months old. So I grew up with my grandmother who had to move from the Dominican Republic to raise me. And she had custody of me, and she didn't even speak English. So that was a good reason to have some government assistance, right? So I'm not completely against government assistance, but we don't want to have too much government assistance, right? We don't want to have too much social programs. Social security is needed. Welfare is a good program. But everything can be fixed too. Like you have public housing that is, you know, pretty good in New York City when compared to other cities. Especially when you have projects in Chelsea, Manhattan, in Chelsea. There's Chelsea projects, and then right down the block there's another project that's even nicer, and it's right off like 23rd Street and like 9th and 10th Avenue, man, over close to like the Hudson Yards, and it's a very clean area, and everything is so close by and walkable and accessible, and you know that's how the cities build. You know, I had a lot of opportunities. I don't have to continue a generational welfare dependent, government dependent life. I got assistance because I fell on, you know, in a crazy situation that was out of my control. And we did the best that we could we had literal food stamps, the actual physical ones. And then later on, they gave us a card where you could just have a deposit every month electronically. But we used to get in the mail. Oh no, we used to have to go pick it up, and it was like this hard, like, you know, like a checkbook, and it was like food stamps. So it would be like that, and you rip them off, and you can use $5, and you can buy government cheese, like the block cheese, man. That shit was hard as fuck. You could rob a bank with that cheese. That shit knock somebody out. And eggs, they give you eggs, they give you dairy, they give you milk, all those dairy products. And then juice, you know, certain juice. It was like, I remember all that. That's how we grew up, to be real and honest. Yep. Farmers are depending on government assistance because of current policies. What do you mean by that? The policies that protect agriculture, actually, see, I can't look up the bill right now, but I was talking about it last time, how 2% of the population
And then once we have those conversations,
is responsible for like all our farming.
on many things, you know, say the race relations, power dynamics in America. I could go on and on, right? But it turned out we actually did agree on a bunch of things: housing, paid family leave,
Paid
how
family
people
leave.
were being taken advantage of by the powerful, corruption, all these things. So you don't get to there unless you have conversations. So I know some on the right certainly were shutting down conversations earlier in my lifetime. Still some today are making that argument. And in their anger today, and then in justifiable anger, they're, you know,
What up, Gwenny?
some are talking about striking back. And then on our side, yes, there's way too much censoring.
Was
way
that
too
the
much,
Palestinian flag?
never talk to anyone else. Just stick within your own tribe. Well, how are we ever going to heal a country, especially if you're from the left, guys?
I don't know what I'm seeing,
The side that has empathy.
but
I'm not saying the right doesn't. I'm just saying that we historically have prided ourselves on having empathy and reaching out and having conversations and healing.
he's using the word empathy, and that was something that they were getting Charlie Kirk on. You see how he's trying to be slick there. See that?
Uniting. So, the way that this country is going and both sides are going is a deep, deep problem. And one of the issues, Piers, honestly,
That was a little side jab, a little side hit,
it rewards extremists.
motherfucker.
And the more extreme you are, the more rewarded you are. And so, we've got a way to fix that. If we don't fix it, the money and the spinning out of control.
What's the difference
of
between
both
empathy and
sides,
sympathy?
Political fervor is going to be an enormous problem for this country. We've got to stop right now. Look, either we can use this moment to hate each other more, or we can use this moment as an inflection point to begin to heal. And
I mean,
to
the
unite
thing
and
is
realize
that.
we're all Americans together. There's nothing wrong with this.
All right, whatever.
We can say that fervently.
Let me hear
without
this real
crossing
quick.
the line into hating each other, thinking that both sides are Nazis of some sort. And you're right, Piers, even I've gotten called a Nazi by some portions of the left for disagreeing on trans issues 5%. No, that's too much, guys. It isn't about me. It's about the hatred that gets built in and entrenched when we can't even talk to the other side, and we can't see each other as fellow Americans.
Batty, I want to play a clip. This is of Charlie Kirk on Piers Morgan Uncensored in November 2023. At the time, we just had the start of the Israel-Hamas war. I'd been defending Israel's right to defend itself at that stage. I've obviously become a lot more critical in this year, certainly. But at the time, he talked very pertinently about actually the left, and in particular in relation to campus colleges. Let's take a look. The very same people who've been behaving in this way, effectively supporting a terror group, have gone out of their way to deplatform and shame and cancel anyone who, maybe on the right, has to be on the conservative side, who's deviated.
It seems like the same thing, you know. I don't know.
Free speech to them.
But yeah, Charlie Kirk, I gotta look into that more. Charlie Kirk used to argue that he doesn't like the word empathy, but not that he doesn't like to be empathetic, but he doesn't like that we need to use that word in place of sympathy.
It's become very clear, and you see this now manifesting in some of the larger censorship regime that is taking over the West, that if a young student finds disagreement with a conservative or somebody on the right, they don't just find the ideas objectionable. Some, in fact, the majority, by a recent Pew poll, want to use force to try to silence and stifle and even censor those different ideas.
I mean, how prescient, Batty, those comments seem now, because that's exactly what has happened here. What's your reaction to Charlie's murder, and how do you feel about the way things may go from here?
Thank you so much for having me, Piers. It's obviously still very raw for a lot of us. Finding myself very caught between, on the one hand, wanting to honor his legacy of unity through debate and coming together to take down the temperature, and then wanting to honor his legacy of telling the truth. And the truth is, this is not a both sides issue. The killer killed him, according to police reports, because he found Charlie Kirk to be spreading hate. This is a view shared by every single prominent Democrat.
Exactly.
Yes, there are
Exactly.
people on Blue Sky advocating for violence, but what actually caused this was the utterly quotidian, utterly ubiquitous demonization of the political opposition from the left. And it has just led to violence because they said the other side were Hitler and Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
They said that speech is violence.
Mm-hmm.
To combine those two things together is to sign the death warrant of prominent conservatives. And that is what we are seeing again.
Silence.
And again.
They say silence is violence. They say silence is violence. You gotta speak out and be against this shit.
Sides, every example they bring is not actually showing that, whether it's Governor Shapiro, whose attempted assassination was from a Free Palestine leftist, whether it was the Minnesota assassinations, which were from somebody
Spreading
who
harm.
operating at the behest of
Cause words are harm to you. You're so soft. You're so gentle. Handle with gloves over here.
to suggest that they're
Take it easy, bro. Come on, keep your pants on.
in danger, and that suggests that their lives are forfeit. And I want to come together. I do.
Isn't what she's? Aren't you the one that has to prove? Prove that what she's saying is harmful.
But at the same time, we cannot
Prove
unite
it.
with people
Give
who
me
are
an
lying
example
to
of
our
what she's saying is harmful.
about who we are, who will not take
That's crazy.
responsibility.
That you're just reversing the burden of proof on me so sneakily. Don't you? Isn't she? Isn't what she's saying? Aren't you the one that's saying she's spreading harm? What the hell are you saying, bro? Like, let's be coherent over here. You're the one that's saying that she's spreading harm, right? Now you're asking me, isn't that what she's doing? That's your proof? Is that you're what are you doing, bro? I'm trying to veer off and try to distract from the question, from the statements that you're making, the empty claims that you're making, empty statements. You're just talking just to talk. Look how many comments you've had. You've dominated the comment section like a manic um a manic social media commenter. Like, take it easy, take a breath, bro. Take a breath.
From people on the woke left, the far left, which has been calling themselves progressive, but in my view are the opposite. But how they reacted to Charlie Kirk's death, we've got a little mashup of some of it.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. We think that Charlie Kirk just got shot in the neck. Hey, ooh.
Oh, these are empty. These are so empty. There's no emotion here.
But I don't waste good beer on little bitches.
Charlie Kirk just got put down like a fucking dog in Utah, and I could not be happier.
I will not ever feel bad when bad people get what the fuck they deserve.
Fucking stoked right
This
now.
is how you're talking, bro. This is your people right here.
Fucking yes!
Your people are gay men, fake gangsters,
And he's gone.
and women that dye their hair purple, and women that want to change into men, and women that want to make it legal for children to make the decision to take hormones and estrogen and all of this crazy shit. These are your people right here, yo. So you might be familiar with some of these things right here. These are your peoples right here. The peaceful left.
There are hundreds, thousands.
The lovable, peaceful, man. They're so lovable and peaceful.
We've seen, hospital
Look at him
executives,
sweating like a
we've seen
fat buffalo.
People who want to run places like
Look at his
the Oxford
forehead.
University Union, for example, and so on, all coming out with similar.
That's your man's, right? That's your peoples, the young Turk.
The murder of a 31-year-old.
You still crying for Breonna Taylor?
Children. I find it utterly despicable, but also quite terrifying, actually, that they're so brazenly doing this. What is your reaction to that?
Well, I think my reaction is that I think it's reprehensible.
Melissa Hortman is baby shit compared to what happened over here, what everybody saw on video. We got a video of a person that's very well known, that has millions of followers. Melissa Hortman, I don't think she pulled more than 20,000 votes, or maybe even less than that. She's not important. She isn't groundbreaking. She has no legacy, and you're mad that she has no legacy. You're jealous that Charlie Kirk made a bigger impact on people than a Melissa Hortman. Nigga, go cry some tears at the Finger Lakes over there. Melissa Hortman. Yes. That has to be condemned. But you're mad that she didn't get the same press. Like, she's just as important. Why are you not complaining that George Floyd got more more attention than her. But George Floyd got more attention than her. And wasn't George Floyd a degenerate, fentanyl abuser that committed home invasions and, robbed black women, pregnant black women, broke into the home and threatened to kill them if they don't give it up? Why is that okay? And why does the left, your people, and the most radical ones even more, celebrate them from the moderate ones, from Nancy Pelosi wearing the African garbs, African tribal print, to the damn Antifa taking over blocks in Seattle, the no cop zones where they took over whole neighborhoods in Seattle. That's your people right there. That's Antifa. And all y'all ever talk about is January 6th, January 6th. I've been condemned that shit, and that shit was buffoonery, and 2 people died. And somebody had a heart attack like 2 days later, and they're mad about that. And they were rioting for George Floyd, where over like 50 to 70, or there could be even more, people died because of it, but there was some things that they said was unrelated, but it was all related. It was a lot of craziness going on during that time, and it was all because of a fentanyl addict that did some amateur porn. So we could pull up porn of a person that is celebrated in this country. This is the heroes, the martyrs on the left are criminals, evil people, but people that had good friends that are in tears. And you want to, call that, like downplay it. Like she's not trying to keep her composure. Like she's supposed to break down and go crazy like you are for Melissa Hortman. Give me a break.
And there's a collective issue that needs to be dealt with.
No, he never celebrated it. So how did he celebrate it? Can you explain that? I bet you can't answer that question, because if you would say that he's celebrating it, then by you answering the question would show that he wasn't celebrating it. So you don't even know how to answer that question. How was he celebrating it? How did Charlie Kirk celebrate it? Because we're talking about Charlie Kirk, and now you're grouping it. This is called group guilt. This is what socialists do. Socialists don't believe in individualism. Socialists believe in collectivism. So the individuals have no rights. You have collective rights. So you're thinking like you're just grouping Charlie Kirk now into what right-wingers, some random white right-wingers did, because that's the same excuse you used when we were talking about lefties and shit. You said, oh, some lefties are wild, the ones that just celebrated Charlie Kirk. That was a lot of them. There's a lot more. There's way more evil. Y'all, they're evil as fuck on the left. Come on, you know they are. They're evil as shit, bro. Evil, man. I mean, what did Charlie Kirk say to celebrate it? No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that he wanted to bail him out. Try again. Charlie Kirk didn't say, and we can pull up the video and make you look stupid. Yeah, that dude was already in the house, and he was wanting to bail him out. He said somebody bail him out, he said. Some patriot. He didn't say that he wanted to bail him out. He said somebody bail him out and ask him some questions. So the reason why he was saying that, and then you're going to leave out the part right after that where he says, I'm not qualifying it. So he says that he doesn't condone it. He says it was an awful thing. You're leaving out context and what he said right after that. Because what Charlie Kirk said right after that was, I'm not qualifying it, and it was an awful thing, and I'm saying it verbatim. Go and check that shit. and tell me if I'm lying about what he said. We can pull it up, but I don't want to get off of what I'm saying. So no, he didn't say that he wanted to bail him out. You don't even know what you're talking about, bro. You're listening to TikTok videos, my nigga. Shit.
I have to go a little bit deeper. I have to go. This isn't about left. This isn't about right. Charlie was a proponent. He was a Christian praising Jesus Christ everywhere that he went. And I think that's where we are.
You're the one that's making the claim, nigga. You pull it up. You know what I mean? You're the one making the claim, and then you keep turning it around on me, man. Shut the fuck up and stop trying to dominate the conversation. You have like 1 million comments on this live stream, dude. Jesus Christ, it's just crazy.
With the starter pack, you'll get both of these bad boys, and we're gonna throw in our deodorant wipes.
Shut the hell up, man. You do the same thing. You see how you're like that's like a tu quo qui argument. It's called U2. You ever heard of the U2 argument? It's called the tu quo qui, which means you do this too. You have no logic or rationale. You're just all over the place. It's like you have ADHD and something else too. Like something else is going on over here. This hate that you have is exactly what got him murdered. You see how hateful you are, bro? You're so suspicious and you don't trust them. Like you think like they're evil. Like you have this jaded view of humanity, and you feel that it's okay to murder this guy is what you really want, because you're not even coming with the evidence. Your whole information is incorrect. You're just wrong, because I already know what you're trying to say. I already know where you're pulled up. So just to be clear, what Charlie Kirk said when the man, which was a left-wing guy. So you see now how you can't say, oh, he was right-wing. What party, what political leaning was that guy? That guy was gay. He was the type of guy that made seashell necklaces and used to make T-shirts out of hemp. And that was Paul Pelosi's boyfriend, is what people suspected, and that he was already in the house, and that the story was not what was being put out. So what you're not understanding is the context of what Charlie Kirk was saying. Charlie Kirk wasn't believing the actual story, and he was thinking that maybe there was more to it. And he wanted to bail him out so he can ask him questions. That's why he wanted to bail him out. So try again, bro. You just got, just like how you made a claim by just typing something, I also made a claim by telling you that you're wrong. So go look it up, because you're the one that's bringing it up. So get your facts right before you come here trying to lie like y'all always do to try to dominate and win, and you're completely wrong and backwards, and you're trying to dehumanize him like the very people that wanted him murdered, that are celebrating his murder. You're celebrating his murder, and you're trying to dehumanize him. And I don't even want to read every comment that you say, because you're not that relevant, and you're just incorrect. Why should I give time to somebody that's just wrong and gonna spread misinformation? Go look up. See, you're the typical lefty. This is what they're all doing. And I want everybody to take notes, and I'm glad this is being live streamed. I'm glad this is being recorded, so it could be here as evidence and a testimony against people like this. Do better research. You do surface level research, and you're intellectually lazy. And you're talking about something that you know nothing about, because something else is motivating you. It's hate. You're a hateful person, just like everybody that's celebrating or excusing his death. Because when I can just make a perfect example with George Floyd, I know that you were the type, I can tell, don't even tell me, don't even lie to me. You're the type that if we were to bring up that George Floyd did home invasions, armed home invasions, where he robbed black women that were pregnant black women, you're gonna say, well, that doesn't mean, oh, well, so what? So what? That doesn't mean that he deserved to die. I'm not saying he deserved to die. I'm saying that he don't deserve the honor and the respect that he's getting. And you keep changing the argument and the conversation into a straw man argument that it's nothing that's not what I'm arguing. You're just trying to win and defeat, and get a W by saying, oh, well, you're saying that he deserved to die. Nobody's even saying that. That's where they go next. No, I'm saying that he's not worth the honor. And how the hell is your people, and I'm sure you agree with this, how the hell are your heroes, somebody like George Floyd, but Charlie Kirk is the enemy because you think that he said that he wanted to bail out this guy. Like you don't even understand the context. He wanted to ask him questions because he didn't believe the story. And if you think that he's wrong for not believing the story, then that's a different argument than what you're making about, oh, he wanted to bail him out. What are you even saying by that? You don't even know the story. That's not true. That's not what he said. We can pull it up. You can pull it up. I don't have the burden of proof. You do. I'm telling you what was said, just like you're telling me what was said. If you want to see what's true, you can look it up yourself. Everybody can look it up. And you can see the context of it was that he was saying that he doesn't believe the story. And then you're leaving out the part where he said at the end, right after that, he says, I am not qualifying it. It's an awful thing. I'm saying it verbatim. Go fucking check me. I bet you that what I'm saying is true. My bad, I'm a little lit right now.
What, Pierce? He went to college campuses. He was peaceful. He just wanted to have a debate, a conversation. And it is the left. Okay, when Joe Biden got diagnosed with colon cancer, who was celebrating? How many thousands of people were out there praying and hoping for this guy to recover? Okay, no, there's something that's captured here. That image, that montage that you played, did you see the eyes of these people?
Yeah.
They're captured by something dark, and they don't even know it. Pierce, that's where we are. And I want to say something, Pierce, before I give this.
Tyler Robinson was a lefty. What are you talking about? It was said already. His family already spoke out. They're the ones that convinced him to turn himself in. And they already spoke out. It's already leaked. The parents said that he started hating Charlie Kirk because he believed he was spreading hateful messages, just like what you're saying, just like what everybody on the left is saying. Y'all all talking the same. What are you talking about? You're so dishonest because you can't even get your story straight, and you're misquoting the man because you have an evil agenda. You don't even care about what he said. You don't even care about what he said enough to get it right because you just want to win and be right. You just want to win the argument, but you don't come with the facts. So you're wrong. And right after that, he said it's awful and it was a hateful thing. Now you're getting away from what you initially said, that he wanted to bail him out. Now that you realize that you're wrong, because I tested you on that, and you don't even got your story straight, and I know you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, nigga. You watch TikTok videos, and you think that that's the truth. But yeah, people like you are the reason why there was such a negative image of him, is because, these are your people, man. Your people celebrate this shit. These are the people that call him a fascist and a Nazi. That's a common left-wing thing. Commonly, you want to bring out the anomaly and the one-offs where, oh, there was a time where Trump called Kamala. There was a time where Trump called Kamala a fascist one time. Okay, does that represent what's commonly said by people on the left constantly? That people on the right are Nazis and fascists? That's the way y'all talk. Talks like a duck, walks like a duck. It's a motherfucking duck, nigga. Pato, ya tú sabes. Yo te conozco, bacalao. I know you. let's go to the part where your boy on the Young Turks, Cenk Uygur. You know, they were saying that Charlie Kirk called an Asian person a chank, and that's not true. That's you see, the left is intellectually lazy. People on the left, it's that goes to show you how like common misinformation is on the left. Misinformation is on the far right. The far right being misinformed like crazy. But I've never seen so much misinformation. I constantly be disproving people on the left when it comes to crime, the statistics, the mass shootings, the school shootings. I've done videos on school shootings. You can go check my videos on the 2023 school shootings and the 2022 school shootings. People on the left love to focus on when white people do a school shooting, but they never show you when a school shooting is done by a 6-year-old who, it wasn't a school shooting like how you think it is, but still a 6-year-old shot his teacher in, you know, I forget where, but you had, you know, the fact that that child was black. I think that that's why that story was kind of like not circulated, because if that would have happened any other way, I think people on the left would have jumped on it and talked about, you know, gun violence and stuff. But that story got swept under the rug real quick. You know, so you were just trying to make the argument earlier. Remember, you were trying to make the argument that Charlie Kirk said. So you're just saying what he said with no context, as if it's an evil thing, and that's why he deserved to die, because of he spoke about gun rights, and he said that he's pro-gun. He's for gun rights. So, you know, when I question, you know, and you question people like this fool in the comment section, I'm sorry, you've been a fool all night, and I've been disproving a bunch of shit that you've been saying. Hold on. Let's go back to the Second Amendment rights. Hey, since you talking so much, let me ask you a question. Do you believe in Second Amendment rights? Do you believe that we should have Second Amendment rights? What do you think about gun, you know, ownership? Should people be not allowed to own guns because people can die? Children can die from guns. Do you still think that it's okay to have guns in America because so many children are dying? What do you think, Mr. Lefty? You want to take people's guns away? I'm going to use your own argument against you and make you look stupid. Do you think that we should take people's guns away? Let's actually talk about something. You're all over the place, man. You have like 99.8% of the comments, you know, and there have been like maybe 200 comments. So you do believe that people should have gun rights. Can you give me a complete sentence? You're saying yes, and I don't know what you're saying yes to. Say yes, I do believe, you know, whatever it is. What are you saying yes to? I want a complete sentence, man, please. Let's get some good understanding here, because you're all over the place. I need you to settle in and settle down and actually have a great, you know, conversation, man. Once we stop talking, that's when the violence starts, man. I don't want no violence. So you do believe that it's worth having guns even though children die? You see what I'm saying? You are Charlie Kirk. I am Charlie Kirk. They are Charlie Kirk. We all are Charlie Kirk. You believe in the same thing that he believes in, and you're trying to use it against him, even though you believe in it too, man. That's so like double agent, just crazy, Machiavellian evil, man. Like, what the hell, bro? You were trying to use something that you believe against Charlie Kirk to try to dehumanize him, to try to make it seem like he deserved to die. That's evil, man. This is a great example of why people like you are evil. Because the alternative to having guns is not having guns. So that way that, there aren't any gun, deaths by guns. So you're confused by the wording of it. Maybe you have bad reading comprehension or just basic understanding of what he was trying to say, and you let it get away from you because you let other people control the narrative, and you didn't even realize that you yourself believe in the same thing that Charlie Kirk believes in, because you are Charlie Kirk, man. Charlie Kirk lives on in you. You are Charlie Kirk. I am Charlie Kirk. They are Charlie Kirk. Yo, yeah, man. You got it now. I think he's starting to get it. By golly, I think he's got it. By George. But I guess we could continue this another time. It is 3 in the morning. My phone almost died. Yeah. So people should have guns. Thank you for saying that, because you agree with what Charlie Kirk was saying. But you were trying to use his statement about owning guns and having the right to own guns against him, even though you believe in the same thing. That is diabolical, man. That's pretty diabolical. But I'm glad I caught on, because I don't think a lot of people of your party would have caught on. And I think that's the reason why you fell for it, because you let them control the narrative without any context. So you don't really know what was being said. You don't even know why he said what he said. You're not giving any understanding. You're trying to demonize people. Just like Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks, and he was yelling like a maniac. He was the one that looked like he was on drugs, man. Lefties are all about drugs, and you know that. Lefties are the party of the drugs, man. That's P. Diddy, baby. Vote or die, P. Diddy. Barack Obama. And you're going to name some conservatives who maybe are pro marijuana, even though you know that that's like not the majority and that's not what's common. But on the left, we know what's common. They're all about drugs, free injection sites, safe injection sites in Kensington, Philadelphia, Kensington, Pennsylvania, free injection sites, baby. That's a liberal's heaven, baby. We know what it is. And all of that causes bad mental health. And there have already been studies done that say that liberals have worse mental health than conservatives. And bad mental health leads to all types of negative consequences. It's the type of people on the left. This is how they is. They live in very stressful environments where the population is heavy. So, when you do experiments with rats and you put a bunch of rats in a very closed environment, all on top of each other, left and right and up and down, they tend to be more agitated and irritated and uneasy. They've done experiments, that's the conclusion. They made a hypothesis and then they proved it. And, But yeah, so liberals tend to live in big cities. And that can bring on, more mental health and all types of stuff, man. I felt so much more comfortable when I got down to a more quiet place in Florida and moved from New York City, loud ass New York City, right next to the 7 train. All night, that's all I heard was just a 7 train. The next stop is Junction Boulevard. I could hear that. Stand by the closing doors, please. Ding dong. I could hear that from my window. That's the train station on 90th Street on the 7 train. Then when I got to Orlando, Florida, it was really quiet when I came down here. At night, it was too quiet, and I could hear raccoons walking in the grass. I could hear that. Like, I could hear, it was so quiet. And I'm so used to so much noise pollution. It was too loud in New York City, man. They had to ban, honking. You couldn't honk your horns in certain neighborhoods in New York City. And if you did, you get hit with noise pollution ticket. If the cops catch you. New York City's crazy, man. Didn't Mayor Bloomberg ban like supersized drinks or something like that? Like people can't just buy 2 drinks instead of, not, oh, supersized drinks are banned. Oh damn, they could get 2 drinks. But I guess I don't know. Democratic like cities, which democratically ran by mayors that lean left, tend to have more crime per capita per every 100,000 resident. It's how they do it because some cities are bigger than others, so it's like you have to do it like that. You got to know all these numbers before you start talking, man. It's when you start just talking out your ass and you don't know, you misquote people. It's like that's dishonest. Let's actually get the story straight so that way you can make a well-informed decision and well-informed statements rather than you coming to conclusions prematurely. You seem very young, but you got a lot to say. Maybe you should start your own channel and do your own lives on your own thing. You seem like you got a lot to say on the comment section, but trolling. I don't think you're real, bro. You got to be a troll. Mischaracterizing. I mean, like it doesn't make sense. Just lying. He said something. He must have said. He said, didn't he say this? And like you're telling me he said something, and then you keep changing. Like, oh wait, did he say? Oh no, he said that. You don't even know how to. Somebody fed you something, and you just ran with it. No context. You didn't even read it right because if you would have read it right, you would have knew something basic like it wasn't him that wanted to bail him out. He was actually talking about somebody else, and it seemed sarcastic, and but either way, he was saying that he wanted to ask him questions because he didn't really believe the story that the dude broke in. He thought the dude was already in there. He beat the shit out of this dude, and it didn't seem like he came in there to steal anything. Like, what, I don't know. It didn't seem like it was politically motivated, even though they were trying to make it seem that way. I don't even know what he was actually charged with because what's the evidence that it was politically motivated? And that's left wing. That dude was left wing as hell, man. That dude was wearing hemp shirts and making damn seashell jewelry. That's the type of dude he was. He wore chancletas at the mall. That's the type of person that dude was, man. That Paul Pelosi's boyfriend or something. I don't know. I don't know what was going on. some Martin Luther King type orgy. It's one of them MLK orgies. Yo, 310 comes to an end. September 10th. Remember that day, man, forever. September 10th. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. And hopefully this doesn't spiral out of control. And, you know, it doesn't lead to more copycats doing the same thing, thinking that that's the way to go. It doesn't seem like, you know, people look at this as a bad thing. It looks like there's a lot of people that look at this as a good thing. Political violence is the best way to shut somebody down because they can't debate them. You know, some of these people that you saw on the Piers Morgan show there speaking, well, at least one person, Cenk Uygur, he is part of the reason why Charlie Kirk was demonized and misinformation gets spread. These are people that don't care about hearing what other people have to say. They want to dominate the conversation, yell, mischaracterize, name call, and it's typical from what I've seen from people on the left. There's definitely a cultish way about it. The way that they take sides and they demonize people is cultish. Cults are usually, like, members in the cult usually don't trust people that don't agree with their belief, you know, so they try to recruit new people constantly, and they isolate themselves from their family and friends. They isolate themselves from people. They don't, you know, if you're not a part of them, you know, if you don't agree with them, you're against them. If you're not with them, you're against them. There's people like that on both sides, but I don't know. This is just a horrible, you know, time, and it's so many people out there that are celebrating this, and if they're not celebrating it, they're still trying to say like he kind of deserved it or he called for it, and it's actually misinformation, the same type of misinformation that led this dude, I think, to, you know, we'll see what he says, but I think it's connected because of the evidence that was already made available on how he considers himself anti-fascist. That's Antifa. That's a common left extremist, far left extremists, communists, anarchists, people that will harass, you know, a business, or people that own a business that didn't allow a man to go up in a woman's dressing, you know, locker room and get changed because it was a trans man that wanted to be in a woman's locker room. And then that business was surrounded by Antifa the next day, and they were harassing people outside that would go into the gym or whatever it was, you know. I believe it was a gym in Portland. You know, Portland and Seattle are some of the most far left. They wanted to abolish the police. There were like councilwomen in Seattle calling for the complete abolishment of the police. These people want anarchy. They want to live in the Mad Max, the Road Warrior, that type of stuff. And I'm glad I'm getting like a perfect example of it right in the comment section. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better than that, because it's exactly what I'm talking about. There's always somebody. And the fact that you don't even know how to properly quote somebody is actually a sign of deception, so you got to be careful with that. I've seen that many times, and if you don't change that and you don't own up to what you did, and you just try to get away from it by bringing up another thing, instead of going back to what you said and actually admitting that, okay, my bad, I was wrong, because you could easily just look it up. You were wrong about the quote. I got to go back and see what else you were wrong about. You were wrong about what he said about bailing out Paul Pelosi's attacker. Since when were Democrats against bail? By the way, I thought Democrats wanted people to be able to be bailed out and not be held in prison. You don't even want any cash bail. You just want people to just be let out, probably. But I mean, on top of that, when you brought up the quote about gun deaths, and then I asked you, well, okay, well, what's the alternative? Should we then ban all guns? What's the alternative? Should we just ban all weapons? Just everything. Because that way, that's probably the best way you can limit gun deaths. You see? And I'm just glad that you would admit that you're wrong. Thank you. Thank you. Look at that. That's how it works. I think that's a great place to end it on, man. I'm tired, as you can see. I look like my name is Good Night. I look like my name is Good Day. Oh my God. Thank you for coming through. Let's go Mets. Have a good night.